Hello, and thank you so much for joining us for your ROH post show. We're in the Eddie Kingston era as of September 20th is when it started, but today's September 21st. This rules. Eddie Kingston's your ROH champion,
Right.
also your New Japan strong openweight champion, also the champion of my heart. Looking forward to see what is coming down the pike for that. But we've got a lot of this episode of Ring of Honor to talk about, guys. Get in your super chats and your humper chats if you would be so kind. Feel free to chime in with anything that you want to talk about on today's show. We'll also ask you to leave a thumbs up on this video to help our little ROH show that could, our little Impact review that could get noticed in the algorithms a little bit more. I think we're the only one out there for kind of like major outlets, not to big time ourselves, but we're the only one that's kind of like a stronghold doing an ROH and Impact post show. So the more love that we can get from you guys, the better to keep this little engine going. So we appreciate it. Thumbs up helps people find us. We'll remind you to subscribe to Fightful Select. There was a lot more in the wrestling scene, unfortunately, today that was going on than ROH. So a lot of releases coming out of WWE, a lot of regular contract news that's also coming up. There's just like a contract ending cycle that'll be making 2024 kind of interesting. So I'm looking forward to seeing just the regular old contract news where more wrestlers are going to get paid. The actual names of releases and stuff like that are never paywalled. I want to be extremely clear about that. But Shawn also adds some more color behind the paywall and does some Fightful Select streams if you kind of want to hear more details about what he's heard or whatever. But we try not to make it icky with like injury news and release news. We try not to do that. But let's get into it. Wrestling is for everyone. Fightful is for everyone. We've got Reg here. Reg, how we doing? How you feeling, buddy?
I am doing well. I am also here. Excited about Ring of Honor and the future of Ring of Honor. I think there were some steps made today in this episode to go towards that. So I'm excited about the future. But yeah, I'm happy to be here. Saw you had a great time last night out at Grand Slam. Got to see a pretty amazing show. Love that main event. Tell us a little bit about your time before we get into this Ring of Honor card, because you were at a pay-per-view quality events last night, Kate.
I was. First of all, it was just so much fun. The vibe at Arthur Ashe is incredible, and it was just perfect weather. Like it is that on the cusp of autumn weather, and I took a half day at my day job, and I got to tailgate with some friends and stuff, and got to just meet up with some friends who I don't see, some friends who I've never met in person. I've never met Andrew Zarian in person, I don't think, before yesterday. So I got to see them. I got to see Cass. I got to see SB3. I got to see a whole bunch of people that I know and love in wrestling media, and some others that are just friends of mine. My co-host from the Mark Order on Wednesday was there. The guy who got me into all this podcasting mess, Matt from the Shining Wizards, was there. And I got to see, oh my gosh, Kaden, and I got to see Will for a minute. He was a busy guy, but he snuck up to say hello for a minute, which is always good to see him. Crazy stuff going on. He was hanging out with the wrestling club yesterday, working hard, but really, really fun stuff. And the show itself was great. Other than, the Moxley match was obviously tough. You could tell it was something early on that had affected him the rest of the match, because you know what Mox is capable of, you know what Ray Fenix is capable of, and it was just not fully there. But other than that, I cried at the beginning of the show because we started with that in Kingston. I was tearing up a little bit, had the tears going. Place was unglued live for Eddie winning. It was so special to see. And that main event was just incredible. My God, like what Max was able to do and what Samoa Joe was able to do. Like, he's just one of the coolest big men in the world. Yeah. He's just so damn cool, man. So it was an incredible vibe. I will say 2-hour rampage is pretty long. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's the first year it was so special because like it was starting with Kenny and Danielson. Like the first ever Grand Slam had the dream match to start off that show. So you didn't there was no slowing you down, right? Like you could do a 7-hour rampage on the end of that. And then last year it was like, okay, cool. Muta came out and we got Ricky and Hobbs too. That was cool. And this year was like, all right, I think maybe next year we could go to a 1-hour rampage if we had to. Yeah. Like a 2-hour rampage is long for a taping. If you didn't build a 2-hour rampage, it kind of felt just like 2-hour rampage for the heck of it. But
Just like for having the space. They're like, we're here. There's a lot of people here. Let's do it.
If we get up by midnight, we're not getting fined. So we're using this place for all it's worth. But if that's my complaint, is that I'm getting so much great wrestling. Like what a blessed problem for me to have. But incredible vibe in there every time I've been. I've gotten to go to all three, and it's just a fantastic experience. So sweet. And I'll be in Seattle in a couple weeks. So I'm very excited. Are you going to Seattle?
No, I'm not going to Seattle.
You're like next to Seattle.
Yeah, I know. But you know how these things work. I have been blessed with some AEW events. They just announced today that they will be in Oakland on November 10th. I'm very excited about that. And then Full Gear. So I got my stuff. I don't need to get up.
If it was a Lucha pay-per-view, you'd be all about it. But because it's my Tekker side of things, you don't even care, do you?
There's holds and stuff and headlocks. All right, leave me out of it.
I will say there was a part of me that was like, technical matches, I feel like, are usually better on TV than they are live, or like a lot of times because they're so nuanced. But when I saw like ticket-wise what we were looking at and stuff, I was like, I got to be in the building for that. That's just like my dream.
And Zack Sabre Jr. Come on,
like come on, and like Aussie Open and FTR and
Swerve and Hangman.
Swerve and Hangman's gonna be incredible. Well, Ospreay was hinting at Akiyama and Eddie versus him and Marufuji. I was like, I gotta get there. I gotta get to Seattle.
Yeah.
We got so much to talk about for tonight. It does feel like things are heading in the right direction. We got a big title change last night. It feels like maybe Eddie Kingston will be a more present champion because storyline wise, I think it's just a little bit more open for that. So fingers crossed. We're seeing important names like Ethan Page pop up. I won't tell you any Rampage spoilers, but some things happened there that are indicative in the 6-man picture. So watch Rampage or check out those spoilers if you have an interest in that with those ROH 6-man belts. But let's dig into it. We do start with an Eddie Kingston promo, which I loved. Him mentioning Xavier, I thought was a really, really nice touch, who unfortunately passed away young, but was the second longest ROH champion, I think he had said in that promo. But just a great Eddie promo. Just I kind of was like, I didn't want him to shake Claudio's hand at the end of that match, but he addressed it immediately, right? I can't argue with that. And he said, Claudio's a great wrestler and champion. I just don't like that guy. And he's just the best at this, man. I love him so much. What did you think of our promo? And what did you think of the Eddie Kingston win coming out of yesterday?
I thought it was thinking back to Supercard of Honor and how we in the crowd were so disappointed. I'm like, I'm glad we were disappointed because we got to this moment, Arthur Ashe Stadium, a great match with Claudio. Just the match, that Eddie Kingston wanted to work and how he wanted to finish this thing with Claudio and then him to win the Ring of Honor Championship. You guys going absolutely banana out there. It was perfect. It was great. Everything you would want out of that moment. And then he comes out. Yeah.
Every near fall. This was me. Oh my God. Oh my God.
And then to end it with
people I was sitting with, I was like,
to end it with the Kawada power bomb. It was just like, man, come on, dude. This is perfect. And then, for him to have that promo, bigging up Xavier and kind of telling us what his reign will be like as Ring of Honor champion. I'm excited. It's great. Perfect.
As am I. Claudio with the green tights too, I thought was a really nice touch. Like if you're coming out in your Akiyama gear, I'm gonna come out like this. Yep. And I do think not only is that like a very happy and healthy change, but let's not forget, like we might have gotten that moment, but Eddie Kingston had a hernia he had to address, and then he worked at G1. So to get to do this in New York is very special. I normally would have the complaint of do it on a Ring of Honor pay-per-view. Like we're doing so much of the stuff on AEW, but that moment in that stadium is a really, really special thing. So very, very excited. Lord Kev said that I'm very surprised Kate even has a shred of a voice after Eddie won the ROH title yesterday. Seriously. I had a rough work day in the meetings sect. I'll put it that way. I sound much better now than I did yesterday, even just from in a live environment like that when you're yelling to be heard, just trying to talk to your friends and stuff.
Right.
And Eddie won at the beginning of the show. I needed a cigarette by the second match, man. You
Straight up.
I mean? We got some love coming in from you guys via Super Chat and Humper Chat. Thank you so much. JW Pringle saying, showing love to my real life sister and the righteous one. Happy Thursday and best of luck to those wrestlers that were released today. Thank you for your kindness with that.
Appreciate
SGS that. And Fightful for Life. Well, thank you. And there's a lot of people being real weird online as is per usual, but a lot of people lost their jobs today, and that sucks. You know, it sucks when it happens on the corporate side like it did in a merger. It sucks when it's on screen talent. The only time it doesn't suck is when people requested it, right? Like I think Mustafa Ali's been trying to get out of there for a little bit. But there are more details. Shawn is always very mindful and respectful in his coverage, so you're not going to run into anything that's not completely confirmed, and you're not going to run into any editorializing on any kind of crap. So there you go. And I think he said he's going to try and do like a video stream about it again later tonight. There was one wave this morning. There was an NXT wave that came at about 5:00 today. I think they're done with them for the day, God willing. So thank you for being empathetic, and just reminder to be kind online, I guess. I don't mean to sound like anyone's mom, but Philar299 saying Fightful Select needs to get the scoop and make it breaking on how to join minion training, please, and thank you. Is it Wrestle Dream yet? High five for Kate. Well, high five to you, partner. I can't wait to come out to Seattle. We are at a blessed wrestling timeline, man, outside of things like happened earlier. There's just so much great wrestling happening. We're going to talk about minion training because I was in stitches at that, but we'll get there. And Matthew Hook saying, better episode. We need less matches and longer matches. We'll talk about that too, because this did have a runtime of 145 tonight, which is good and bad, but we do get a little squash heavy. But let's talk about our opener finally. This ROH Pure Championship with Shibata and Nick Wayne. Someone said it online, and I've noticed this a lot too. When Shibata's in these matches, especially with younger talent, he's just like so disappointed in you. And it's so funny. Like this dad thing. He was doing it with Garcia, did it with Wheeler a little bit. I love that of just like, I'm so disappointed you're not putting up the fight of your life against me or whatever. Like I taught you better than that. We got that with the dojo story, right? That came in earlier.
Right.
But this was a whole bunch of fun. We get Shibata sitting Wayne down and hitting the PK for the win and the title retention. But I just love how it's like he found weed in your room or something when you were too young for it. Like, just, I thought I taught you better. He's like, I learned it watching you, Dad. Like the old commercial.
Totally.
What do you think of our opener, Reg?
I loved it. Great to see Nick Wayne here in Ring of Honor. But yeah, exactly like you said, just sad, upset, disappointed. Shibata being like, hit me harder. This is a real fight. I'm going to kill you in here if you don't fight back. And Nick Wayne trying his hardest to fight back. And Shibata being like, no, I need you to go harder. I need you to go harder. I'm going to kick you in the mouth if you don't go harder. And then kicking him in the mouth and ending the match. The awe that the crowd made at the PLK was just great. Great way to show that Shibata's still that guy. He's still just as dangerous as he was back in the day. He's still very upset if you put someone who he thinks doesn't deserve to be in the ring with him if they're not going to fight back as hard as they can. And he still will destroy you. This was a really fun match. I hope to see more of Nick Wayne here in Ring of Honor. And I'm interested to see what Shibata does at Wrestle Dream.
As am I. I'm intrigued to see what the rest of that Wrestle Dream card looks like, because you announced CSJ and Danielson. I'm like, I'm in on the highest extent of the law, but then you're throwing like Aussie Open and FTR and there's like some fun crossover, but it's definitely an AEW pay-per-view and not an AEW New Japan one, but it's for Inoki, so it doesn't feel like a mini Forbidden Door, which I like about it. Like I think it's important that those have distinct voices, but it does seem like we're getting some really great matches leading into it. So where Shibata falls into that picture, it's going to be an interesting one.
Yep.
But we got Lars saying, high five for you also, Reg. I ran out of text. Hope you have been well. Hope to catch you at a show soon. Well, he's not going to Wrestle Dream. So.
Oh, come on.
Catch him in Oakland if you can.
Yes, November 10th. We outside.
Yeah, no, that's going to be awesome for real. I'm excited because, first of all, like, I mean, now Will gets to go to everything, but like Phil gets to go to everything because just everything's in Chicago.
Chicago. Every single time they announce something, they say Chicago. I'm like, you guys.
They're like, it's not in Chicago this time, but it is at Hoffman Estates. We're like, that's basically still Chicago. Come on, man.
But at this point, I'm going to have to stop complaining because I think I've been to like 5 shows in California this year that are AEW, and there's like 3 or 4 more to go. So, I mean, at this point, I'm going to have to just start not saying anything and slithering away into my corner to watch my wrestling in California, because this is how it's always should have been, Kate. Everybody knows All Elite Wrestling is a California promotion. You could try to sell it on Chicago, try to sell it on here or there, but the show was founded right here where the palm trees and the good weed and the beautiful women are. California.
So you're calling me ugly?
That's not what I said. That's not what I said. That's not what I said.
Reg, how can you do that? I'm from Jersey and I'm seeing New York and you call me ugly. Oh my god.
Shout out to the Jersey and New York State girls.
You're like, but they're cute too.
They're nuts.
No, what's funny though is
emphasis on the nuts. You know.
I can't disagree with that actually. See? But I'll say it is funny being in Jersey because I feel like I had the same thing where it was like all of a sudden we got like 5 shows in a row or something. There were like 2 in Newark and I went to Long Island and they announced the Atlantic City show and Arthur Ashe, right? So it is kind of like you get this embarrassment of riches in these clusters kind of all at once. So I'm sincerely very excited that because
there's some people that get 0. So, you know, we're getting our shit off, Kate, and somebody's like, I haven't seen 1 show this year. So
well, you know, they're coming. They're going to make it. They're going to make it. They made it to... That was the other reason for Seattle. I was like, I got to see this with Danielson in his hometown. Yeah. Like, right, we got to get there. And Swerve. Like, it's going to be a fun one. Yep. Meet Norma saying, sup, partners? Kate, glad you didn't combust after Uncle Eddie won. I might have, and then just somehow I'm like a phoenix. I rose up from the ash, but I did combust. Reg, my dancing is better than TK's. It was rough. It was rough out there. Yeah. WWE is gross, but think of all the Ali matches. I will say, like, I try not to go down the fantasy booking route on the day people are released, but knowing that Ali had asked for his release and knowing what wasn't happening in NXT, I felt like a little more comfortable putting out there that, like, Mustafa Ali and Will Ospreay is magic waiting to happen in the ether. I saw some people say it's Super Juniors. There's obviously a million things you could do in AEW. Bud Matthews is right there if you want to reignite stuff, but a whole slate of other competitors. I think he's probably the biggest name that got released from a value standpoint of, like, in the prime of his career, can do a whole heck of a lot, and a slept-on star. Reg, he has a 205 live match with 6 million views on it, and another 205 live match with 5 million views on it. Nobody cared about 205 live except for like me and like 8 other people, and those people probably also watch ROH, so they might be like the demographic that we're here for. But this guy's a star, and you know, I think there's a ton Dolph Ziggler could do, right? Shelton Benjamin is ridiculous. There's a lot of promising talent from those NXT cuts as well. This is not to take away from anyone, but when I think of like someone in the prime of their career that could walk in and make a difference tomorrow, that is in that underutilized feel of the way Claudio was or the way Dean Ambrose was, I feel like he's the biggest free agent to come out of that, right? Do you have any thoughts on that specific release? Yeah,
I totally agree with you. I think, like, if we're talking about the future and like I can use this person for the next 5, 6, 7, 8 years, like Ali is the one you go with. We've seen with the promos, we've seen with, I was talking with Phil earlier. Remember all these videos he's been putting out, Kate, of him training these crazy lucha styles or all this stuff in Chicago that you know he can't do in WWE, that you like know he has in his arsenal that we're gonna be able to see now. I think we've only seen probably like 60% of what he really has to present. So moving forward, I think he's definitely the one. But like you said, Dolph Ziggler, I've been waiting for Dolph Ziggler to get out of this damn WWE contract for a long time, because I think if he just goes and has fun somewhere else, put Dolph Ziggler in Japan and just let him cook, I think it'd be really dope. And Shelton Benjamin, I think, has a bunch more years to go. And if he can get locked into a role where he's in Japan doing his thing, like I feel like he wants to, but he's also just like on the indies running around being a vet, kind of like how Too Cold Scorpio did. Money. We're making big money. We're on our way.
Shelton Benjamin, because I started watching in 2009. I remember Shawn put out a tweet that was, he asked, like, what is the first thing you remember seeing in a wrestling ring that was like, I didn't know that was humanly possible? Like an insane ladder spot or whatever. And I was like, I can't think of a moment, but I just remember Shelton Benjamin was
Yeah.
the thing. Like the way he moved in a match, I was like, that's what I didn't know was humanly possible, to have like that stature and move like that was just insane to me. I'm sure that's how a lot of people felt about Brock Lesnar when he came on the scene, but I didn't have that. I was late. So for me, that was Shelton Benjamin. But I also just want to say, like, it's true about a lot of these guys, but with Mustafa Ali, I just feel like it an exclamation point on the way that he handled everything. He has to be released like 2.5 years ago at this point or something, and they denied his release, and it was reported that he was like upset about some things behind the scene. We never found out what they are. That guy never went to the ring with it. Like there was never a time that guy was on my screen and looked checked out ever. There was never a time that guy was giving less than 100%, no matter what was going on. Everything he's done on Twitter has either been hilarious and in character or full of grace or adding positivity into the world. So I hope the best for that guy for so many reasons, but he just really reads like a very much a class act. So
right.
I just love that dude. Can't wait to see what is ahead of him, because I think it's all good stuff. But let's get back into ROH world over here. Getting your super chats and your humper chats. We can talk about the releases a little bit, but we're here to talk ROH mostly. Obviously, big news of the day, though. We're not going to ignore it if you guys have thoughts or feelings that you wanted to share. But we get Diamante and Katie Bright. And what do you have against Kate's ROH? Because this was quick. This was Diamante winning with the rolling the dice here, which I like as a finish. And I really like Diamante. I'm a little confused because she's been kind of ping-ponging back and forth between brands a little bit. It felt like they had a story for her in AEW, and then maybe they left it. We don't know where we're going, but I'm just glad she's getting reps, because Reg, for a long time, she was just like on Dark and then not doing anything when Dark went away. So a quick win here, but more credibility for Diamante.
I'm going to have to be honest with you, Kate. When Diamante's music hit, I was making a pizza. I went to go get the pizza out of the oven, and then I came back and the match was like, if they were moved on to the next match, and I was like, what the hell happened? I was gone for legit like 30 seconds and it was over, and I was like, what happened? So I honestly don't even know what happened here.
I would like you to give us 10 minutes of analysis on this man.
Well, first of all, Diamante comes out, song. I don't know what the hell happened. I don't know how it happened so quickly. Why did they do this?
I don't know. This was a quick squash. I'm guessing it was just to get her back out there, which is good. Like, I think it's good to have, we talked about this a little bit before, but with such a dominant champion, you do want to kind of have people winning, so it's not like that's the next contender, because she's kicking everybody's ass, right? So continuing to build a lot of contenders, I think, is good. But yeah, this was a blink and you miss it, or a take pizza out of the oven and you miss it. Since we don't have a lot to talk about with this match, what kind of pizza did you have, and was it good?
The pizza was it was okay. It's a frozen pizza. You can't really. People be trying to get this frozen pizza. If it's this certain one, it's good. It's all trash. It's never works out. I don't care how much you try to sell me on it. If I'm like if it's like, damn, dude, I don't want to get a real pizza. I want to cook this frozen shit. But don't try to sell me on DiGiorno's better than delivery. Those are the worst cap-filled commercials I've ever had. Worst marketing strategy in the world, because no one believes that shit.
No, it's true. It's true. Was it just like a plain pizza, or it was
Supreme.
It was Supreme. Okay. But it was not Supreme.
But it wasn't Supreme, though.
Yeah, it was not. It was not. So
Supreme.
It was like meat Supreme, but like mediocre. I get you.
Exactly.
It's kind of one of those things where it's like you can't have bad pizza, really, but there's a really big difference between medium pizza and great pizza. Like we know.
Correct.
I'm like,
it's like I had pizza in Brooklyn, and they were like, "This is old pizza," and it's like it was really good, but it's like it's pizza. Like it's hard to really screw this up. Like when people really screw this up, you're like, "Damn, this is god awful." Like it's never usually that. But I mean, I've had some vegan pizza where I'm like, this is a disgrace to human history. Throw this in the trash. Disband this company. Don't ever try to sell me this bullshit cheese.
Here's the thing about going plant-based is if they just called it something else and stopped dangling it in front of you like it's a substitute for it, it would hurt my heart a lot less. But it is so much harder to give up cheese than meat.
Oh my God.
So
Way harder. Not even it's not even a competition. Like cheese destroyed. Like it's so hard to like, because honestly, like some of the vegan meat, I'm like, all right, this works. But like the vegan cheese is never like, oh yeah, this is the same. No, it's never the same.
It's never the same. It's never the same. Well, I'll tell you what's never the same is Lee Moriarty, because he shows up different on every one of these episodes. But if this is the track that we're on with him, after Big Bill has broken away and all of that alliteration, I'm loving the idea of him and Shane Taylor. This is going in a really cool direction. We get Lexi Nair backstage with Lee Johnson, who's interrupted by Lee and Shane. Moriarty is mockingly offering this handshake before Taylor gets involved, and there's kind of a pull-apart brawl. And then we have a really, really solid match here. Lee Johnson looking very good these past couple of episodes. It's nice to see him getting some reps in there. But we get Moriarty dropping Lee Johnson on the ropes at neck first before hitting that leg lariat. That was a nice way to win. I love his submission wins too, but like this was a really creative and refreshing change. And in Shane Taylor Promotions, the idea of him doing something like a little bit more violent, I kind of dig that. What were your thoughts on the segment we got here where we're going with Shane Taylor Promotions and the match that we got?
I thought this is all really strong stuff. Exactly like you said, Lee Johnson has been rejuvenated here in Ring of Honor. Like, I didn't know he was hiding back there. They had him in the Light Skin Coalition for a little bit, and they were like, let's try him out as a single star. Maybe that'll work. And it's been working. He's been feeling confident in ring. That promo he had with Lee Moriarty, he felt confident, and I think he's been having a very strong showing. On the other end, Lee Moriarty has been being great too. He's having a little bit of identity crisis. I get it. He's trying to figure out where his place is here in the world of Ring of Honor. But I think with Shane Taylor's Promotions, we're on the right track. The way that Lee has gotten Moriarty, because there's two Lees here, the way that Lee Moriarty has gotten comfortable since being with Big Bill. I thought that his tag team with Big Bill was great. I don't even know why they broke them up. I thought we could have stretched that out a little bit more, but the confidence that he's had since being with Bill has been being great. So what he's had on display here in the promo and how he worked the match, really excited about the future of him in Shane Taylor Promotions. And yeah, just like you said, him ending the match a little different way, show that I can. And it's so funny. The funniest thing about last week on Collision, Shane Taylor was like, let me introduce you guys to Lee Moriarty. I think he said the best technical wrestler in the country or the world or something. And Lee Moriarty hates being called a technical wrestler. So I laughed out loud when he said it. And everybody keeps being like, this technical. And he hates it so much. So when they keep saying it, it just makes my heart just flutter. They're getting him. He hates it. But, you know, he can do more than that is what he tries to show you. And so for him to do more than that here is really dope.
Yeah, he obviously has a very strong technical base, but I never thought of him as like a technical wrestler, like a super technical guy, because he to me reads as very dynamic. Yeah. But if people want to troll him by calling him one, I can't argue with that. That's a great time.
Great. It's amazing. Keep doing it, please.
It's awesome. We got some more super chats and humper chats that have been rolling in. Thank you so much. Shane Monster saying, number 1, where's Stokely? I don't know. 2, hope ROH tag champ Adam Cole is okay. Yeah, that was a rough one to see live yesterday too. Yeah. But they are undisputedly funny hospital skit with Roddy Cole and KOR sitting right there.
Right side. Mm-hmm.
It's so true. The pre-tape with Roddy yesterday, where Cole was like dramatically walking away and he adjusted his bed. In stitches. And
when Roddy said, Cole, where are you? Cole said, I'm right here. Roddy said, where's here? Yeah. Where's here? I'm right here, Roddy. Open your eyes. Roderick Strong. I don't know what, like, speaking of, it's crazy because today is release day, but like, when Roderick Strong came into AEW, I kind of expected him kind of just to get back to his roots, was just like backbreakers and Messiah, the kicks and all this stuff. but he just developed into whatever this character is, whatever this next strong thing is. And I think it's going to take him way farther than if he just had came in badass Roderick Strong. It's crazy.
I find it so funny that, like, I keep comparing it to when Malachi Black came in, he kept, like, the black eye, carried that over from AEW. Roderick Strong carried his neck injury from NXT over to AEW. He's wearing the brace on the plane. And I was great. Malachi Black feels like such like a distinct like character, creative love letter choice, and Roderick Strong feels like I've got the silliest idea.
It's a bit.
I love it so much.
Committing to the bit. How could you not enjoy someone who's committing to the bit?
Exactly. And that's pro wrestling. You get your incredibly like spooky house of horror stuff with like a mist that you don't really know what it does, but he has this black and dye. And then you get Roddy, whose neck is just never really fully, never. Adam! Just the best.
Give him a slammy. The AEW needs awards because Roderick Strong deserves one.
He does. Him and Tony Storm. They should host.
Oh, yeah. You only need 2 awards. Just give it to them 2, and then the rest doesn't matter. Yeah.
That's true. We are going to talk about Minion training closer to the match, but we're going to talk about this Mercedes Martinez with Diamante defeating Trish Adora match. Good and bad here. Trish Adora, I'm like, do they not realize what they have with her? Or is this just like booking stuff? Because it feels like ever she went to it felt like she was booked very strong, and then she went to the New Japan dojo and they just haven't really done anything with her when she got back. But it also feels like she should be a priority with the infantry. Their gear looked awesome tonight. That like yellow gear was so cool.
Correct.
But we get Martinez winning and hitting this really nice half-hatch suplex, and then into a running forearm with Martinez hitting a rabbit forearm before locking in that Brass City Sleeper, which always looks so vicious. And like Trish Adora looks great, but I don't know how many times I can say like Trish Adora has an amazing bridging suplex from her knees tonight before I'm like, let's get this girl some W's. I think I'm also just personally very high on Trish Adora, so I have a little less patience than maybe like they're probably building something for her, but she hasn't really been in a story all that much. Like I'm so in love with her as a wrestler that like I just want to see her like be planted down somewhere and kicking ass and taking names. So it's probably a little biased on my end, but I can't argue with the match. The match was really, really strong here, Reg.
Yeah, I understand, because when they announced the match, I'm like, that doesn't look good for Trish. She's in there with Mercedes, and Mercedes hasn't been messing around very recently, and Mercedes wasn't messing around very recently. I would like them to, someone said they should have longer matches. I would have liked for this match to be a little bit longer. I think they could have let these ladies stretch out and cook a little bit more to get into it. But I think strong showing from both of them. I don't understand what they're doing with Trish Adora. I felt like there was a week after they said that she was at the New Japan dojo where they were like, we're in, she's great. And then I was like, man, we're on our way. She might beat Athena. And then like after that, they were like, psych, just kidding. That was a joke. All that stuff we're talking about, just not real. We're moving on. But
she might just lose to Lady Frost. We don't know.
Yeah. Exactly. But then it also at the same time, the way that they present her and the way that they have her with the infantry, it's like they care and we can see it and hear it, but it doesn't show us.
Sure.
So I'm just waiting for them to show us it. But then on the opposite end of that, it's great to see Mercedes cooking because she's a very talented wrestler and like I said, always a contender out there waiting. And she was, 100% herself tonight.
Yeah, she's looked great. She's always just been so vicious and violent, which is always fun to see in women's wrestling. Like I like that when there's a woman who's just gonna come out there and kick your ass. And she's not like a super tiny gal, but she's also not like the biggest gal, but she wrestles like one, man. She'll kick your ass. So here for that. And I agree with you on Trish Adora. Not everyone can be hot all the time, right? So I'll try to have some patience, but not that much.
She's here.
And you better know what you got in her because she's the best. We got some more love. Phil R asking, would it be embarrassing if I screamed your name like Roddy in Seattle trying to find you outside the arena? Kate! Where are you? I can't see you. You can do that? You have to have a neck brace on is the rule.
Yes.
And probably tiny square glasses.
Neck
You're
brace.
going to need those little, like, that Roddy has too. But blast. Let's talk about minion training, Reg.
Ridiculous.
My God, this was so much fun. We get a pre-tape. Also refreshing to see a change in format. It's not like backstage match, backstage match, backstage match. We get this pre-tape with Athena, who's holding minion training with Billie Starkz and Lexi Nair. Billie she has this underlying smirk on her face the whole time, and it's the same underlying smirk that I had watching 90% of this.
Yeah.
I loved it. Lexi Nair's got her hair in pigtails. I love that she just got pulled into this, whether she wanted to or not. And they have to go through like these tasks and these exercises with kind of this boot camp drill sergeant Athena. They had to go through some exercises. They had to go through booing Willow. It was, no, you boo Willow, you boo Willow. Trying to scare the Renegade twins. This was so much fun. And then at the conclusion, we find out that Lexi passed her minion training, but Billie Starkz did not. This was extremely silly. It's so much fun to see this side of Athena because it's comedic to us, but it's very serious to her still.
Yeah.
So it doesn't break her character, but it's just turned on its head, and that it's very, very funny. And she's been so dominant for so long, and we've seen what she can do as the ass-kicking side. And she's been silly along the way, right? Calling people porcelain hussies and minions is genuinely funny. Totally. I also realized today, I was like, oh, minions is like a Greek term, like from Greek history. And I was like, Athena, the fallen god. I was like starting to put things together. Like, oh, I didn't even think about that, because when I think of
about
minions,
the little yellow thing,
I think about the little yellow guys. Yeah, but I didn't connect that till today. I was like, no, you're Greek history, Kate. But it's very fun to see Athena, who's been the MVP this whole time, been so dominant, still be the MVP, but also just have this very, very silly thing with this minions training stuff and the storyline with Billie. Did you like this pre-tape as much as I did?
Yeah, totally. My favorite part was definitely the Willow part, because like if you've ever interacted with Willow, that was so genuine. It's like, I don't know if they like told her they were going to do that before, because that reaction is so like Willow, of her being like, oh, hey, and then being like, what, why are you guys booing me? What do you mean? I thought we were friends. Is like so Willow. And it was just a perfect little addition to this. Billie Starkz was great. That little smirk the whole time of her being like, this is ridiculous, but also like, I'm having fun because like, what is this? What am I doing here? Lexi somehow being roped into it, even though she's just the interviewer. How did she get here? But still being like, if I don't do this, she's going to beat me up. So I'm going to do this. And then Athena just being the straight-laced boot camp person of saying that these are the things that you need to do in order to succeed. It's just great. And I think with everything we've seen of Athena, because a lot of her WWE run was just serious. She was, trying to become the best wrestler in the world. And then beginning here in AEW and ROH, it was kind of the same thing. And to see like a different side of her, I think is perfect for her character and just her legacy as a wrestler.
Agreed. It's very cool to see. And it does feel like she'll probably be moving up to the main roster sooner than later. Just from a gut instinct. That's not anything reported or anything. But like that she gets to cap off this historic title reign. This was her 15th defense tonight. Like, this is awesome stuff, man.
Yeah.
That she gets to show this side of her too. I just think it's fun because I don't think anybody knew it was there. We got some chats coming in because Athena always brings them in for us. Lexi Nair, number one minion training draft pick. Amazing. I love that Lexi's gotten pulled into this. It cracks me up because she was just an interviewer backstage, and then she's gradually been pulled into her as her best friend. We got green apple Skittles or whatever going on. Like,
no, what she did, we're going to talk about the Ethan Page promo later, but what she did at the end of the Ethan Page promo, like, did you get your groove back? And she like legit popped Ethan Page. I loved it. It was great. I'm like, Lexi is really good at this.
She's really, really grown in this regard. I'm going to read this chat, and then I've commented on it last week, but it bears repeating here. Lexi Nair has improved a lot. Renee, I bet, helped. I don't know if Renee has a role in helping the interview talent grow. I think she has multiple contracts, so I would be surprised. She also just seems cool, so maybe she's just a helpful person.
Totally.
But Lexi has grown tremendously, and it's kind of cool to see that in wrestler adjacent roles. I've seen that in NXT too. There's been some backstage talent that you're like, you're finding how to be an authentic person in this. An interviewer at a backstage wrestling show is a very odd role to be in, realistically, right? Like you're either interviewing people after they just fought someone, or you're interviewing people right before they're about to go fight someone. That's a weird time to categorically talk to someone.
Super weird.
But she's really had her personality blossoming in these past few episodes. It's been really, really cool to see.
Yeah, she's great. I like her. I'd like, she needs to move up there too. I mean, Renee's up there, so it's hard to compete with that. But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, but Renee's getting shoes thrown at her. She's got Chris Statlander squatting her. She could probably use some backup up there, man.
I mean, match Renee. She could probably use a break too. So she'd be like, "Come on, Lexi, I need some help. They're burning me down over here.
Like, my vocal cords are killing me. Okay, my husband's getting skewers in his head every other week. I can't. I can't be doing all this.
Crazy."
Shaka 29 saying Billy trying not to break was gold, and Lexi has been the unsung hero of this whole act with Athena. I was dying the whole time. Yeah, this Billy Stark's, like, it felt authentic and charactery, which I loved about it. Of like, she just looked like she was gonna crack up, like she just the whole time, and it was kind of this I know something you don't know thing, but I think it was also very authentic of her, like trying to. She just seems like she has a very happy disposition about her. Like it seems like her default state is just like smiling and happy. So this was a whole bunch of fun. What a blast this has been.
Yeah.
But we've got some more love coming in from you guys. Thank you so much. Are we caught up on chats? We might be caught up.
Come on, this might be the most super chats we've ever gotten on this show. Jeez,
I know, it makes me happy.
Shout out to y'all. Y'all are cool.
Yeah.
Athena, honestly, she really is a draw. Every time we talk about Athena, everybody's like, Athena's great. So
it's true. It's true. And this is the Eddie Kingston era, man. We're pulling in. He wasn't on the show yet, but like there's good things on the horizon. I feel like I'm pumped. I'm pumped. All right, saying Sup Platinum is always great to see Reg and Kate reviewing ROH. Well, thank you. Thrilled to have Kingston win the title. Tell me about it. Athena is the ROH MVP. Here's to the future. Yeah, it does feel like there's plenty of reason to be optimistic with this episode and some of the recent momentum that they've created, some of the recent talent they've been featuring. We're going to talk about Ethan Page later. But let's get to our match. That was just the minions here.
Yeah.
But she's our minion overlord, so we got to acknowledge it. She defeats Angelina Love. Very nice seeing her come back. I think she was also on tonight's episode of Impact.
Yep, she did the Rick Rude.
Yeah, she did pull a Rick Rude, right? I thought this was a really nice call to pull in somebody that has some nostalgic attachment. Beautiful people were not like always my favorite thing, but I do get it and appreciate it. And I feel like Angelina Love was kind of the strongest wrestler kind of in that mix. So nice to see her in this. And I also love things like one of her moves being called the Botox injection. That's just funny, which we have Love ducking in the corner before hitting the Botox injection for a near fall. Athena coming back with the double knees and face buster to win and retain. She looked really good tonight. I hope she looked good on Impact as well, but this was refreshing to see, and also nice when they pull people with a little bit of ROH history into the picture.
Yes, and Angelina Love, just the women's wrestling and the things that she did in Impact Wrestling, I think is just a cool opponent to kind of have on the show. Anytime they bring in people like that, like they brought in Allison Kay, and they bring in some people that have like history, to get a good match out of Athena, I think is great. And Athena, the contrast from seeing the great promo, the backstage skit, to actually, and she still will beat your ass. I think it's the best way to deal with this. So we're not just seeing an episode of Athena being silly. We're also seeing what she can do in the ring, and that's still destroy people at an alarming rate. So shout out to the ROH MVP Athena. And I'm loving this. It's a great skit, but this is showing right here that she could be up there, doing it up there on Dynamite or Rampage or Collision, because with this skit and with the in-ring stuff, she has it all.
I agree with you. I think it's tough with her because there's a part of me that says, don't bother until you want her to dethrone Cresta Statlander. Like
Yeah.
that kind of feels like the move, and I think Chris still has a little bit of juice left in this run. But at the same time, I don't feel fully comfortable saying this because I'm not saying replace one black woman with another, but I am saying replace one dominant champion with another dominant champion with Jade's departure. So
they just happen to both.
Yeah. So I don't want anyone to think that I'm equivocating them for that reason, but it is.
Jade acting like Bill Watts out here. We'll replace Junkyard Dog with another black guy. It'll all work out. They're all the same. I'm not the one talking about the light skin coalition every week, okay? Put that on me.
No, but I think it's an important distinction because truly it was like you had a heel dominant badass champion in a completely different way than Athena is.
Yeah.
But you also have a heel dominant badass champion sitting right there, ready made for you. Correct. That can fill the void that gets left by Jade's departure. So I think it would be a good call, but it is kind of like, I'll do it this way, Reg. If you were going to call Athena into the picture tomorrow in AEW, where would you put her, I guess? It's tough.
Probably more towards where you're going with Stat, I think. Yeah. If I were, but yeah, I think she kind of needs more time to cook, so it's hard to. But then also, I mean, I don't know, honestly. It's
tough. I think I complain about the women's screen time for a lot of reasons, right? But like that is part of it, is when you don't really have any stories outside of world title, and mid-card title. There's not a ton of room there. So I would love for that to change. I'm not optimistic about it, but like I think Athena's defeating Saraya. I feel like Chris would be a really good call for a lot of reasons. One, that match would just be awesome. Mm-hmm. And two, I've really appreciated that Chris has been a workhorse champion with that, because Saraya is not someone that's going to be defending a ton. Right. So Athena being another workhorse champion coming into dethrone her, I think would feel really cool. But there's also a really big part of my heart that just wants Ruby Soho to get a moment, or Willow
one day. I
feel like there's we got a line. It's kind of like the TNT title. My TBS title is turning into the same thing, where I'm like, I have this line around the corner of people I want to win it. Right. But we move on to another women's match. We got 4 of them on the show tonight. We got 3 in a row. This, I think, was my favorite. This had no business being as much fun as it was, but boy, howdy was it. Kiera Hogan, Skye Blue, and Willow Nightingale defeating Leyla, Hirsch, and the Renegade sisters. Nightingale hitting the DVD on Charlette before Blue comes in and wins with the code Blue. This was a blast to watch, considering how often I complain about not having stories and just like multi-woman matches or multi-man matches being kind of thrown together. This one was a whole heck of a lot of fun. And there is a little bit of history, right? Like we have the good girls and the bad gals on different sides here. We've had some of them face each other before. And what I love is Skye Blue feels important. Willow feels important. Kiera Hogan feels important. Leyla Hirsch feels important. And the Renegade sisters, while they're there mostly to kind of serve a role, I guess, in a way, they're featured regularly enough that they feel integral to the program. So I appreciate that about it.
Right.
This was my favorite of the gals matches tonight. What did you think of this?
Same. 6 women matches. We don't see a lot of them in Ring of Honor, but this was a welcome, refreshing change, I thought. All the women got their stuff off. Willow hit a pounce at one point. Leyla Hirsch looked badass in there. Kiera looks she's great. She's amazing. I thought that putting together a match like this is super interesting, because we just don't get these matches where women get to have spots like this. And my least favorite spot in the world was in this match, the waterfall spot. One person hits their move, next person comes in and hits their move, and I know who did this, and I feel like this is personal. But look, what I'm saying is, really great match. I thought everybody was really fun in it. And seeing Willow back on ROH, she was talked about a lot on this episode, so I'm like, where are we going with this? Are we building to another Willow and Athena match? Which is like, yeah, but also...
Been there, done that 3 times.
Like, I don't know. I don't really know what's going on here.
I'll throw this at you. Did you know that Willie Mack and Brian Cage have faced each other before?
I'm pretty sure I've probably seen them 5 times minimum wrestle each other at PWG. So yes, I believe it.
Is feeling a little bit like that of like, okay, there's other people there.
That's it. I love Willow, but I don't know if like
So
we should go
much.
back to that. She's the best, but like let's get another contender.
And also, like, she's been main roster. So what are we doing? This goes back to the lack of roster clarity complaint that we tend to have somewhat frequently. But I will say this episode felt much less like, hey, the best friends are back there. Put them up. This felt like it had some more clarity and organization. Yeah, so I do appreciate that. I really, really think it would be cool if we had ROH, because they have a lot of breathing room on this match on the show for women's matches.
Yes.
And I love that about it because it doesn't feel like this. It doesn't feel like, oh my God, look at the women.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the women that we've put on television. It feels like we've got all these badass women and they're going to fight because they're awesome. We have all these badass men and they're going to fight because they're awesome.
Right.
I think this is your opportunity to be the first American brand, sans Impact sometimes, to have women's tag belts. That you have every other ROH belt floating anyway.
Yep.
You don't have to have a full-blown division in AEW, but if you created just enough in ROH, and then you could have them go face Bunny and Penelope Ford or whatever, or Anna Jay and Tay, like where they've had these alliances, but they haven't been proper teams, it would give them a little bit more stakes, and you could build programs outside of those existing title pictures without the pressure of, we have a women's tag division now, we have to put them on, we have 8 minutes, and we whatever. Like, there's so much breathing room in ROH for women's wrestling, and I love that. And there's so many badass women. So I think there's a real opportunity to do something that makes it feel like there's any priority to women's wrestling under the AEW ROH umbrella. Please, 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 please. But
yeah, I think the point that you said about it not being like a pat on the back is what I like about it. Because look, we got 3 women's matches in a row, 4 matches on the show, and they weren't like, we have these women's matches, come and watch them. It was just like, no, they're part of the show. They're wrestlers too. They're having matches too. It's not a big deal. And that's going to be the best thing for women's wrestling is when we stop having when we stop having these things, when it's all just normal wrestling stuff. It's not the first women's to ever main event. It's just like, no, women are wrestling again. It's happening again. All wrestlers are wrestling. When we get past that stuff and into this is just the norm, I think that's when we're really going to get to it. And Ring of Honor has been doing a great job of that. So just to continue it. I like that women tag team title idea. It's pretty good.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I think it actually does a lot for the AEW women's roster in that it's like a very low pressure thing that you can snap together very quickly to better utilize that talent as well. I've loved how much it's felt like a workers women's division in ROH, like Leyla Hirsch, Trisha Dora, Diamante. While that squash was blink and you miss it, it's like, okay, but she's important to this brand, so she's out there and she got a dominant win. Got it.
She can fight.
Yeah, it's good. It feels very healthy for women's wrestling, and that makes me very happy. I like women's wrestling, as it were. Something else that makes me very happy. This is starting to feel renewed a little bit in ROH world. We get Ethan Page versus VSK. Now, this is a match I wish I could have seen gone longer because I really like VSK quite a bit. He was kind of in the not Brain Busters.
Trust Busters.
Trust Busters. We were busting trust, not brains. My apologies. I was like, thanks, honey.
I was going to say Truth Busters. I'm like, I don't think that was it.
They're
Trust
busting
Busters.
The truth. That sounds like a weird conspiracy theory. Tucker Carlson weird thing.
Yeah, no, we don't want a tag team called the Truth Busters.
He also went by VSK today, not Jeeves SK, which also selfishly makes me happy because I like VSK as VSK. But he is here to lose to Ethan Page. I wish I had gotten more time, but we get some good stuff in here. We get Ethan Page with the power slam and setting up for that ego's edge, but VSK escapes it and starts to fight back. Page hitting the cradle. It looks like the Riptide. I think it's a cradle slam, but it reminded me of the Riptide a lot. It looks very much like Rhea's. And getting that outside in cutter for the win. And then we get this backstage that you were referencing a little bit with Lexi talking to Ethan Page, he says he hasn't felt this good in a while, not since he challenged MJF for the AEW World title in his hometown, which I love that he referenced because that's important. It was a world title match, and that he wanted to get back to that feeling. So he's here in ROH to keep competing. Your thoughts on the match in this promo?
I'm liking what they're doing with Ethan Page here. I think that this is a really good spot for him. He's such a strong promo, like I've said previously on the show, that I think that in order to really utilize who he is, you have to always have a promo attached to him having a match here. So I think what they did here is exactly what they should continue to do because he's such a strong promo. And the match is really good too. I think that he's deceptively big. So when you see, you don't really notice until you see him with other wrestlers. Like, man, Ethan Page is a pretty big guy. And then the way that he works, I'm a big fan of him. So I think that him being here in the Ring of Honor division, maybe Samoa Joe he can go into. I could see him with Eddie Kingston. Like there's a bunch of things I think he could do here. So this is really good position for him.
Ethan Page with a TV title in either brand feels right to me. So I like where you're going with that a lot. Very happy for this. I like what they're doing with Ethan Page. I also just like that they're doing something with Ethan Page. You were dogging on me last week a little bit about it, but you should be, because I'm always like, use this guy. He's a star.
They listen.
Please.
They're listening.
So, well, he's very important. We're the only ones out here, but we're very important.
Yeah, seriously.
Good stuff here, though. Lexi great in this segment, as you said, as well in the post-match. But we move on to, man, if we could just get all of your favorites into one match, Reg.
Woo-wee! I was waiting for this one.
Well, then it's actually the next one with Cole Carter and the Light Skin Coalition.
Oh, no, this isn't the one I was waiting for. You tricked me.
No, this one did come first. We got Vikingo, Gravity, and Metalik, who I bet if they were in Seattle, you would be coming to this versus the Spanish House Project. And Tony Nese talking some S earlier in the show about his tag partners, calling them Luis, I love you for doing this. A pinche culo. Did I say it right? I'm white as hell. I don't know. But that means an effing asshole in Spanish. Thank you. Somehow that's the one I get. The one that's a mean, insulting curse is like, oh, Kate, you nailed the pronunciation of that. They also had Abrahantes and Sterling in the tapings this past Saturday. It did not make it on air, which Luis tells us, which story tracks. But this is great. I like all these guys. Metalik holds like a special place in my heart. He gets tagged in and hits a rope walk senton for the win. I just feel like he is one of the most logical luchadors I've ever seen. Like the athleticism always impresses me, but to be able to pair that with ring psychology to the extent that Metalik does, I'm just always blown away by that. So very, very cool. I guess Vikingo might have gotten hurt in this or hurt in general somewhere. I didn't see it in this match, but did he get hurt somewhere else? Maybe I don't know.
Something apparently he's hurt or something. That's how he's nuts. He does these crazy lucha spots for
450 through the tables spot.
I mean, like on this Ring of Honor show that people might not even watch. He's still like, let me do my craziest spot. I don't give a shit. So shout out to Vikingo for being nuts. Yeah, no, this is all the spot foo that you would love. Vikingo's here, Metalik. I didn't really understand what happened in the pre-match promo with Mark Sterling and don't ever call them that Spanish announced team. Maybe we're getting away from that. That's why I was like, I like this because I think we're getting away from that. That's the one aspect. Too. Yeah, that's the one aspect of this that I liked, but it didn't really float my boat. But putting them together with the luchadors, I thought was great. Gravity did his little gravity walk. A lot of great spot food. Nothing super crazy to write home about, but a really fun Righteous Reg Invitational match for sure.
A Righteous Reg Invitational. We should make a bracket.
We should.
A spot foo invitational bracket. I'm in. We've got two more matches to talk about. So get in your super chats and your humper chats. We'll also remind you to stay tuned for the Impact post show that is going on after this. But Reg, I think I saw a little something online from Phil about maybe like if I wanted to pick up a cool fall hat, where I could maybe find
this one. Look at this beanie for as long as you guys can, because it soon will be out of here forever. Yeah, just today. Grapsody.bigcartel.com. Grapsody hats. Philip Lindsay designed the Grapsody
so
logo.
cool looking.
Yeah, I'm
so
like,
cool looking.
dude, come on, man. That's so dope. I'm like, cannot wait for this hat to show up. It's apparently in like 5 or 6 different colors. You could get it. Yeah, Grapsody.bigcartel right now. You can get that. You can get the shirts we wore on Starcast for our 100th episode, and you can get you something cool. So go check that out.
Do you have my Righteous Reg pocket square?
It's on this way. I'm working on it.
Good.
On the way.
Because I will be going to, what is it, bigcartel.grapsody.com?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
go.
Grapsody.bigcartel.com.
Yeah, I'm dyslexic. Sorry, switch it.
Okay. I'm sure if you type it in your phone, you'll get there either way anyways.
That's what's up. So go there. Support. We love Reg. We love the Graps guys. Want you to get your plugs in. You know what I mean? We do this impact handoff. We don't always like plug our stuff.
You're right.
Yes. Like Brian Cage, we had to get our essence. So here we are. We've got Reg's match of the year candidate Cole Karter and Griff Garrison against Darius Martin and Action Andretti. And before we get there, earlier in the night, we have a backstage with Lexi Nair doing the Renee Paquette role, interviewing everybody time after time. I actually did like this from the sense that, like, I'm not necessarily excited about this program, but it made a whole bunch of wrestling sense. And that Griff Garrison is back there and says he felt like he's lost a step since returning from injury, and that teaming with Cole Karter feels like a pretty good idea. That is a very underrated promo because it's not flashy or particularly great, but that is one of the most logical promos I've ever heard in my life. Like, yeah, I'm not quite myself because I got back from injury. Teaming up with someone who has a hot and effective manager seems like a good call. Like, low risk, high reward. That makes sense. I don't need like a Cole Karter, Griff Garrison tag team, but I can't argue that this makes plenty of wrestling sense. And I like promos like that just feel very much like real life. This, at least Cole Karter's not coming out in a hot mom shirt anymore. I guess that's a W here. But in the match, we get Martin and Andretti taking advantage in this, isolating Cole Karter before Andretti hits the springboard to win. Them losing, Karter and Griff Garrison losing, interesting, because it's kind of, to me, like, is Maria going to cut dead weight? Is Griff Garrison going to be like, well, that didn't work? Whereas my initial instinct was like, well, what's the point of banding together if you're not going to win? But I'm like, maybe that's not where the story's going. Maybe we're not looking for a Cole Karter, Griff Garrison tag team. Maybe Maria's not so hot on one talent and is on the other. Like, there might be some possibilities to play with in that. And it does feel like Andretti and Darius they're just being built more, right? The tag team should always win over the two singles guys that got thrown together in general anyway. So, not my favorite program in the world. Is yours, but I can't argue that this makes good wrestling sense, right? Like, I can't argue that it's fundamentally sound professional wrestling programming in that way.
Cole Karter lost his I Love Hot Mom shirt, but did not lose his Austin Theory educational tapes that he watches before he does every show. I thought, I mean, if we're gonna give a little story, a little enhancement to the enhancement talent, I'm not mad at it. We could keep continuing to tell stories. I don't know where it's going, but I'm not mad at the story that they told. I thought that Andretti and Darius had a really good showing. I thought the finish was super dope. The springboard 450 was awesome. This is just like if we're going to continue to tell stories and they're going to be secondary, I'm not going to be mad at it. That's what this is. Yeah, well, and it's such a catch-22 because I love what they're doing with MJF and Adam Cole. Now we'll see what Cole's injury turns out to be. But it does kind of feel like, oh, good. The tag team champs are still not around. So at least they're trying to build some programs with it. I will say, like, I don't love... Okay, if you don't want spoilers about Rampage, close your eyes and ears. La, 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 la. La, la. The Hung Bucks walked away with the 6-man titles on Rampage. What?
So I don't love that because they don't seem like they work Saturdays very much, whether or not CM Punk is there. But I do feel like when you have MJF and Cole lose the titles, that's going to be a big deal. When you have the Young Bucks lose the trios titles, that's going to be a big deal, right? So
correct.
It's not great for right now, but if they're putting some honest effort behind ROH and building people, those are going to be huge moments when the Young Bucks and Adam lose to anybody down there is going to feel like a huge deal as opposed to the Embassy who are just kind of floating around. So
right. Yeah, no, it's going to be a bigger deal. Like we've been wanting the Embassy to give up those trios championships for a long time. I don't think anybody expected this outcome, but you know me, like Young Bucks team, we're out here, we're outside. I think that's a really dope way to do it. And I think, whoever they lose the championships to will be a bigger deal in the long run.
Agreed. And it also, the Embassy have kind of needed some clarity, I feel like. It seems as though, they were in ROH, but they're with Swerve, and that program to me feels like it just got catapulted. So if they can just be kind of like locking in, that would be really, really good. Right. Louis pointing out that Shawn had said, ROH might be focusing on making it like the biggest ROH pay-per-view ever when you have MJF and Adam Cole and you have the Young Bucks. Like, these are huge names that are going to be massive draws. They might be gunning for like that pay-per-view that is just True. That pay-per-view that's going to
final battle in
December.
I could see it. All right. I'm in.
Could be fun. Could be some fun. Well, that brings us to our main event, our ROH 6-man championships. Gotta say, was there at Grand Slam. Kind of spoiled this for me when I knew exactly what happened and know that the people that hold the titles at the end of this no longer have the titles. But we have the Mogul Embassy with Prince Nana, the most over man in wrestling, defeating Willie, Mack, and the Infantry. We did get a promo earlier, just kind of setting this up. Willie, Mack, and the Infantry, again, fun. Not sure why they're together, but they work so differently that I like the offset. I'm a big Willie Mack gal. Like, I love him so much. And I feel like I need a program with like him as a singles competitor and Dalton Castle for like 5 months or something. Yeah. Like, he just feels like a solo star to me. So just selfishly, that's what I like, but it's a fun trio to watch. You knew the outcome of this was going to be what it was going to be. Open the gates here on Willie Mack to score the win and retain the titles. It doesn't feel like a main event per se, but at least they didn't do this when they also had like Claudio on the show.
Right.
But this whole episode felt like a step in the right direction. So less complaints about that, but this was a really good match. Willie Mack makes me so happy. Going home on this note makes me smile even though they lost.
Yeah, I thought there was really good moments to this. It didn't hit as hard for me because I knew the outcome. Like, well, you guys are selling on this match when we already know that the Young Bucks are the ones that are gonna be having the championships at the end of this. But I really liked what happened here. Infantry, I thought looked good. Willie Mack looks great. I thought the ending sequence of the Embassy just killing all the Infantry was great. There was a big suplex in there. Brian Cage was getting his shit in. Like everything that they did at the end
was cool.
Yeah, super dope. Everything that they did at the end to kind of establish that they're dominant champions in what it ended up being their last title match before, their ultimate demise was cool.
We got some love coming in from the Grapsity Big Cartel. Well, thank you for going over and supporting. Yes. Phil did an awesome job on that design. It looks so rad.
Thank you.
So rad.
Phil, also Phil.
Yeah, another Phil, a Phil and Phil connection. You love to see it. But Sheldon saying, so whatever happened to keeping the ROH and AEW titles separate and not having ROH title matches on AEW once ROH taping started? That idea flew straight out the window, my friend.
I forgot that I said that is what the person that said that is going to say.
They said, now we have Collision and that's who we tape with. I think from a sincere standpoint, I think that would have been true if this was a promotion that stayed in one place. They now tour with another promotion. They're clearly using that locker room for untapped talent when they need to. So I think it's switched around a little bit. But if it feels like my read on things right now, and who knows where the hell this goes, I don't know things. It feels like they're making an effort to build some of this roster with things like Ethan Page being there, with the tag switches we've seen, people getting some credible wins. So I can't argue and say that it's a bad idea to put those titles on AEW talent, to have them drop it back to ROH talent at some point in the near future, right? Like that makes good wrestling sense. I don't even mind them defending them on AEW TV. I just want them also defended in ROH.
Yes.
But that is it for us. We are going to bring on the delightful, wonderful, beautiful, incredible, what's the Lady Gaga meme? Never been done before, never whatever. Cresta star, who I
Never
didn't get
been
to meet
afraid.
yesterday.
What?
Bro.
I know, such a bummer. Her phone was dying, so she had to leave me.
Cresta.
Okay, first of all, you should have confidenced your way down to the seat next to me, because I've seen so many people just confidence. Bro, they were like, you're not supposed to be here. The usher moved them like 5 times, and there's one dude who was sitting next to me ended up on the floor. Next, I just confidence your way to the seat. I don't know what was going on, but everyone around me was just getting moved. Like, so
I had initially, I was going with friends of mine who weren't like gonna get credentialed, so I just bought tickets with my friends and was hanging out with them. I recently have found out that I can just make things work anyway, so I will be sitting in better seats moving forward, which I'm excited about, even when I'm with friends who are not as popular or cool as me.
I can see you now signing it. Signed Jeff Jarrett. You'll never know.
That's right. All right.
Who was feast or fired? I've been waiting a whole week to find this out. Please enlighten me.
The fans were fired. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
What does that mean, Joel?
Yeah. I agree with that. The big deal of the business.
It means that Yuya Uemura, the illegitimate son of Hiroshi Tanahashi, is headed back to Japan. He has been fired. Joya is no more.
I wouldn't have guessed that. I thought it was going to be someone else.
You're not alone, especially given they just started the damn tag team and it's been over like Rover. But they announced they're going to do like a goodbye ceremony, and also Impact is promoting Josh Alexander versus Yuya Uemura for their Memphis tapings this weekend.
Why are you a snitch, Joel?
Yes.
Don't talk to me. Talk to In the Weeds interviewee Jared
thought
Kidman.
you lived in Toronto, not Spoiler City, Joel.
Bro, he lives there.
Spoiler City.
How about you guys getting Osprey and Speedball?
Yes.
Whew.
Yo, tonight Impact was 10 out of 10. There were so many things I liked. And when it was Awesome Kong and Savannah Evans in the ring, face to face, this was me. This
is why I'm so sad I didn't. This is why I got to sit with you at shows, because I need that energy live. Is just exactly what we're looking for.
I'm trying to be a good person in film, but half the time I'm like, fuck him up. Oh, I gotta film. It was such a good show. Sad Joya is fired. Also, Gail Kim was cooking tonight. You sure she retired? Because she was moving in there like this was Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio 2005, 2007. You know what I mean? Like, she was cooking.
I love that. I love to hear that. Joel, did you have similar thoughts on Impact tonight? Good show today?
Yeah, overall it's a good show. I mean, it's tough to do a 2-week 1,000 episode celebration, but they did a pretty good job of like tying in, especially this episode, tying in the new and the classics and doing the 10 knockouts tag. It was a good finish to what they started last week when they had that opening promo. So all things together, yeah, it was good. And plus, who can't be mad at the return of the Fox box for one night?
There you go. I will say, is Knockouts Knockdown not like an annual thing? They just kind of throw those together when they feel like it?
They only really did it. They did it for one night only specials, and they did it once in 2021, and they recently put it up for free on their YouTube channel.
It was really good when they did that. That was like before Masha was signed. So I was wondering if they were going to do it again, but I guess they already have specials every other day. So
pretty much. Well, that was the one that you and Denise got to do together. The review for that.
That was a really, really special one, because I think did Tasha Steelz win the whole thing, or it felt like she won the whole thing because she just had broken out so much in that, and a lot of people learned who Masha was, and it was that thing that when pro wrestling is at its best does, where it's like nobody loses even when they lose. Like, it was just all upside, and it was such a special and diverse showcase of women's wrestling. So that was really fun and special. I think that was my first time on air with Denise, I think, like just me and her.
Yeah.
So that was really fun and a really special thing. I wish they would do it again because they have so much new talent. Jody Thread is there, and oh my gosh, what is her name? She was on Dark all the time. She signed there somewhat recently. She's also a big
Giselle Shaw.
strong ass kisser. No, Giselle's amazing though. Oh my gosh.
You said she's a big strong ass kisser?
Kicker.
Oh, I was like, what?
I don't know if she's as good as Dwayne though. He's a pretty good ass kisser.
I also heard kisser.
I too heard kisser. I'm sorry.
See?
Kicker. Maybe I said it. Maybe it was a Freudian slip. We did have one more chat though before we get out of here. My apologies for being Norma saying I'm smoking a brisket and chicken wings because I'm a mother effing meat, Norma's. ROH's Dark Elevation with major angles happening on AEW TV. Toodles. I think we have a lot more reason to be optimistic tonight based on what we saw. I think we're in a investment mode, which makes me very, very happy. Kylie King. Thank you, Meet Norris.
Kylan King. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
NWA standout Kylan King.
Mm-hmm.
She's great.
She is.
But yeah, tonight's ROH overall, I actually thought the women's 6 woman might have been my favorite match on the show. Like that was such a blast. But yeah, reason to be optimistic tonight about where ROH might be headed. It was very refreshing. Very refreshing. So
yes, we love to hear that. Come on, ROH.
Ring of Honor,
baby. I feel like we have like alternate nights where it'll be like a good Impact and a bad ROH and then flip. So it's nice when we are all headed in the right direction.
Yeah,
maybe Tony was feeling the fantasy after Daniel Garcia told him how to do things.
Oh, guys, you got it wrong. You're not supposed to do the dance if your guy's been put in the hospital.
Oh, yeah. Stevie Richards was not happy about
Good news. Mox didn't go to the freaking hospital. So
don't dance when somebody's hurt. Okay, no dancing.
The only thing I'm going to say is that so Stevie Richards, that channel is full of a lot of really good breakdowns. This was a rare miss, but it's funny because like everything in the ring he got, and then he went after Tony and that whole dance thing, and it was like, you did a little too much, bud.
You're watching the show. You don't watch any content that's not outside of Fightful. Not a single thing.
Wait, is this the Fed? Oh, sorry.
You watch Fightful Overbooked, you watch Fightful Proper, and you watch Fightful Select. You go and watch other people. You think other people have opinions on wrestling? No.
Hold on.
Support wrestle to. Oh, sorry.
Do you know?
Except the Mark Order podcast on Wednesdays.
do you know the story that Freddie Prinze Jr. tells about his time in WWE on Creative? Do you know? I
do. But tell it for the people.
So Freddie Prinze Jr. is on the jet with Vince and co, and he's watching like a Richard Pryor stand-up or something like that. And Vince walks over and he's just like, "What are you doing?" And Freddie Prinze is like, "I'm watching this guy, watch this comedian." "And why would you watch that when you can watch Santino Marella?" And Vince McMahon is being dead ass serious because he thinks he's like, you can just watch it all on the WWE network. And that's just how Vince feels. Only his content is king.
We want you to stay in the Fightful universe.
If you don't watch us, we'll find you.
I'm out. Not gonna get better than that for me tonight.
I'm not gonna find you. Peace, y'all.
We're good. We're good. But I have such a fun time on the Impact World show. I can't wait to hear about this episode.
Thanks, y'all. Have a good night.
Bye, friends.
I am not Cresta. You are Cresta.
And Cresta will not find you. That's for the Rizzlers. I'm not doing that. I am far lazy.
She says.
Dude, I am the Rizzler. I got my Riz on 1,000. And so did this episode of Impact because, bruh, this was written for me. Scott D'Amore said, Cresta, I've been taking all the notes, and this show was for you. Except with you, yeah. That hurt my feelings.
I know. Unfortunately, it was to be expected. And also, they might turn this into a thing. Who knows? Who knows? Anyway, are we doxing people? Cresta's plan to dox people.
I never said that. I said I was going to find you. But if it's not in the yellow books, how am I going to find you?
Fair enough. Before we do the official stuff, how you doing, Cresta Star?
I have a lot going on. I'm happy that wrestling was good because I'm not looking forward to this weekend, but I'm here. Impact has brought my spirits up, and you always bring my spirits up, Joel. How are you?
I'm doing okay. It's been a busy week. Thursdays are always my weird week or my weird day because my days start at 7 in the morning, and my like first show of the day is at 4 on Thursdays. So I have like an entire. I'll take my kid to daycare, and then I'm like, the fuck do I do for the rest of the
day? You got a nap. You got a nap at that point.
Today I thought about it. I was like, maybe I could take a nap because I could use the sleep. And then no, I ended up like doing stuff around the house all day because I'm insane and I don't sleep.
I mean, I respect it. I did wake up early to upload all 139 videos and photos I took of AEW, Dynamite, and Rampage, but I won't spoil Reno, and I upload them on Friday. So,
whew, God bless. Anyway, are you ready to do it?
I'm ready to do it. And real quickly to the young man who said the yellow book in 2023, that's the joke. Let's hit it, Joel.
Hello, friends. We're back again. It's Fightful.com, and it's time for your Impact Wrestling 1001 post show. It's September 21st, 2023. I am Actual Pearl, and of course, as always, joining me is my number one, my Grand Slam affiliates, my Grand Slam breakfast, my Grand Rapids, Michigan collision friend, Cresta the Star. How you doing, Cresta the Star?
I will take all of that except for a Grand Slam because I don't eat pork. So if you want some beef bacon or some turkey sausage or some turkey bacon, I got you, fam. And before y'all ask, I was raised Seventh-day Adventist. Look it up.
Today I learned. I mean, I'm a Jew, so like the same thing with the pork stuff.
Bro, that's why I'm like, yo, y'all food, same vibes, same vibes. Come on.
It's all the same, but it's not the same unless you leave us a thumbs up here on the video. And of course, you can subscribe to us here at youtube.com/Fightful, and you can donate a super chat, get your question statement read on the air, help us guide through the show. Tell us your thoughts on tonight's Impact Wrestling episode 1000+1, because it's still episode 1000, but it's a 2-week event. So this is episode 1001. Anyway, youtube.com/Fightful, super chats, do the thing, or you can go to humperchats.com, Cresta, tell them what to do.
Humperchats.com. You type that in with your fingers or your thumbs if you're on your phone. You type your comment in like, hey, what's up with Steve Macklin? What happened tonight? Put a dollar amount in the basket. We get to keep a little bit more from that basket, and we're happy. Thank you so much for the Church of Fightful Wrestling. Hallelujah. Wrestle you.
Speaking of hallelujah for Rhino, because Steve Macklin got that ass kicked.
I'm not participating because if Deonna Purrazzo looks in my direction, I'm just going to tap instinctively.
A busy night, a fun episode of Impact. There was some good, there was some not so good, but we're going to talk about all of it. And of course, we got that 10 knockouts tag main event that kind of bookended the entirety of Impact Wrestling's 1000 episodes. Started last week where they did the big 30-minute opening promo, and they paid it off tonight. I think they paid it off pretty well, by the way.
I agree.
The match itself was fun. We're going to break it down, but really the end of the night, everyone's talking about it. There's a certain former Knockouts champion gotten her eyes on the current Knockouts World Championship holder. I'm looking forward to talking about that.
I want to talk about the main event so bad. I am ready to talk about this whole show so bad. Impact, you did that. And this episode in particular is one I would tell someone, watch part 1 and part 2 if you're iffy about watching Impact and you don't want to get back into it. This was phenomenal. Yeah, AJ Styles intended.
Yeah, you know what? They did it. They did the thing, and it was well put together, well received. So let's break it down. First of all, we got to start with BTI. Now, Cresta, I don't watch the entirety of BTI. I think I've said it pretty obviously that I usually start the show around the 30-something minute mark when we get to our Iceman intel, and then we do the match, and then that's really all I care about. Well, I happened to watch the beginning of this week's episode, and it was friggin' great. Because Gia Miller was basically roasting Josh Matthews, saying that she was in kindergarten when Impact started, and Josh was like, I was doing another job, and Gia's like, I was in JK, I was 5. I just laughed. She just got him.
Joel, you gotta watch BTI. It's like that every week. Gia Miller is a professional clown, and I mean that with the utmost respect. She is so funny on BTI. She's really just roasting this man. And every time he tries to roast back, she just acts like she doesn't get it, which is even funnier. Gia Miller's amazing.
See, this is similar to like how my wife and I are. There's 5 years between us, and I'm not going to tell you how old we are, other than the 5 years. But she'll look at me and she'll be like, "I don't know what you're talking about. I was born in blank year she was born," and I'm just like,
Drag me.
you jerk.
So I look at you right, like, yo, drag me. Just drag me across this floor right now. Drag me. 5 years is not that long. We're in the same. We're the same. We're the same. We're either a boomer, a millennial, a Gen Z. We're the same. Don't do that.
Exactly. Just likes to get a rise out of me. Anyway, let's talk about Coffee Shop Iceman. By the way, I told Cresta about this story. I'll tell you all on the air now because let's face it, it's more fun this way. So I'm out with my kid. This is Sunday morning. I'm out for a walk with him. We're just walking, went to the store. He's in his stroller and he's doing his thing. He's cool, no problem. But, strollers take up a bit of a space. And I look in front of me and I see blonde hair kind of parted to the side, shaved sides all around. And, he's a smaller dude. And I'm like, is that George Iceman?
Did you say his name? Did he appear?
I didn't have to say his name. George Iceman was in front of me walking the streets of Toronto. And listen, we both live in the city. Like, we both get it. But anyway, I walk past him. I'm with my kid. I'm also wearing like the most gaudiest dad wear imaginable. Like, I'm wearing basketball shorts and a button-up shirt. Like, my ass is just, I am out to do things. Anyway, so he actually had stepped aside. He didn't know it was me behind him. So, he steps to the side and I go past with my stroller and I was like, George. And he's just like, Joel, how you doing?
That's so
very
cute.
It's just a very funny and like unexpected moment. I'm like, do you live in this neighborhood? He's like, no, we're just doing nothing, doing this and that. I had a good laugh and I was just like, I think I have to move immediately.
I think it's time you talk to your father, Scott D'Amore, and tell him to come on home. It's time to give your son a job.
Scott's all the way in Windsor. He ain't coming to Toronto anytime soon. So some of the chats like basketball shorts and a button up is a look. It's not it's a short sleeve button down, but it's like it's like, I don't know. I can't explain it, but yeah, it's definitely not.
It's giving I have things to do, and this is what was close.
I wear, it's funny because like I wear black shirts almost exclusively on the air, just like black V-necks. But I actually do wear like a button-down shirt whenever I go out all the time. So I don't know. You're
a snazzy guy.
No, I just do it for whatever reason. Anyway, so Iceman, he's in the coffee shop on BTI, and he said that as a result of the Knockouts tag match tonight, there are some knockouts who want to come back to Impact Wrestling. By the end of tonight, I'm pretty sure we figured out who that knockout is, and we'll talk about it very shortly. Instead, let's talk about the tag titles. Impact Knockout tag titles are on the line. Death Dolls take on MK Ultra. A good little match. Nothing much to say other than Masha Slamovich getting the win with a snowplow on Jessica. And she got her real quick and real up and down. Good match. Very simple. Death Dolls do a double team power bomb sky high type of thing that looked good. But other than that, is there anything else you want to touch on before we move on?
Two things. We had mentioned, and I think commentary had mentioned, how Impact 1000 is being capped off by the knockouts. And I think that in the confines of the show, having a knockouts tag title on BTI is kind of like if you had a Big Mac and that little piece of bread in the middle. That's what I thought this was. Also, I got to give up to commentary for Tom saying a sharpshooter on Killer Kelly from Courtney Rush. And Gia Miller's response is, how Canadian?
That's right.
She's so good at this, and like it's such an understated genius. I love her straight dry man comedy because it's like she really doesn't get it, but she gets it. It's fantastic. That match itself was good.
The only other thing is talking about Rosemary and Death Dolls is Courtney Rush at the very beginning of the match. Killer Kelly kind of goes close to her and teases a make-out kiss type of thing, but she's got her in the position that normally Rosemary would be in, where she's got her knees behind her and she would go backwards and then fly forward. She gets stuck in the backwards position because she's Courtney Rush. She's not Rosemary. So she's like on her back with her knees behind her. She's like, how do I get up? How do I get up? How do I get up? And it's just really funny watching, the difference between Courtney Rush not being Rosemary, not knowing what to do, like a turtle stuck on its back. Very funny stuff.
Bro, if my knees got stuck like that, I think I'm gonna need help as well.
Got to start doing that yoga, Cresta.
Yoga. You gotta go. I forced that.
Yeah,
I forced that. I'm sorry.
Anyway, let's not force this. Impact opens up with Ultimate X. It's the 50th edition, they say, which is absolutely bonkers. Alan Angels gets the win over Rich Swann, Samurai Del Sol, Speedball Mike Bailey, Ace Austin, and Zachary Wentz from the Rascals. There were moments in this match that were just insane, but really the end was Angels just love to kick people in the dick, and that's how he gets the win. He kicks in the dick. And then, you know what? What's best is that Angels kind of gets back up after all four men. They did a spot where it was Wentz, Ace, Bailey, and Angels. They're on the fighting on the X over the ring. And then the X drops because Angels unhooks it, but he drops, and then the X drops, and he grabs it and runs away. Normally, most people would be like, oh, God, that's a botch. This sucks. I think this is perfect for Alan Angels because he won this by being a dick. And kicking one, but like this just makes it even more. He's just so full of himself now. He's completely delusional, or Delulu, as the kids say these days.
I love a good Delulu lemon.
What do you think of the match? What do you think, Alan Angels, who is going to, by the way, cash it in next week? It's going to be Alan Angels versus Chris Sabin for the X Division Championship.
That is peak delusion right there. You don't even want to wait. You said, I need it right now. You know what? Go ahead, young man. Go ahead, young man. When you get beat up, all right. Got to give a special shout out to Steven Speedball Mike Bailey for hanging on that rope for what looked like 20 years while Wentz and Angels shook the rope. To quote Taz, y'all going to have to start wearing a cup when y'all wrestle against Alan Angels because his hand, it's like, remember back in like 2018, 2019 when AJ Styles was hitting people in the dick for no reason? This is exactly like that.
Oh no, that was Shinsuke Nakamura.
Okay, thank you. I knew it was one of them. I'm like, I know he did it to Shinsuke or somebody, but like this is exactly that. And bro, like you're not bad, but like stop hitting people in the wiener. Stop. Like, what if they have on a cup? Stop it.
Yeah, but what if they don't?
Taz, my balls. That's what happens if they don't.
There you go. Alan Angels had a good spot where he was hanging off the truss and like his leg and knee were caught inside of it while he was fighting. Yeah, that was good stuff. He was fighting Speedball up top. Either way, looking forward to it. Angels calls himself the future of the X Division, the front man of Impact. So he's going to cash in next week, like we said. So that's good. We're looking forward to that. But all in all, like a good opening Ultimate X match. Originally, it was told to me that the match would not be for a number one contendership. And then I was like, that doesn't make sense. So I think someone had just kind of lost it in translation. So I'm glad that it's Alan Angels gets the win. They're doing something with him. I still don't think that calling himself the front man is the way to go. But also, I just need him to do something like be a Nickelback guy. Just do a
look at this photograph.
This is the second show in a week where someone has made that reference with me on camera with them.
I love Nickelback. I know a lot of people don't, but I unironically like them.
It's fun. I've been trying to tell Tony Khan that the AEW Collision theme should be the version of Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting by Nickelback. Not
all right, no, okay. Respectfully, now you're dragging it.
No, I'm serious. Have you heard that version? Much harder. Come on.
Yes, but also no.
You know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. Dirty Dango versus Jake Something knows what they're talking about. The Fox Box returns, or as I like to call it, Fox Box. It's a very weird. No one's gonna get that reference. There was a show. You ever heard? It was a digital thing. It's called Sonic for Hire. Do you ever hear about that?
Like Sonic. Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah. So someone, they're called Lowbrow Studios. They created a little mini series. It did like a bunch of seasons. It's called Sonic for Hire, and it's just Sonic being a total dickhead character with his friends, and he's trying to get odd jobs to get paid so that he can pay rent because he's fallen on hard times.
This is the first time I've heard of that.
Yeah, that's for most people. I'll post it tonight. How about like 2 a.m.? I'll just drop the link for the entire show on my Twitter, and y'all can watch it. It's like a 3-hour 9-season thing.
You know what? Do it. Right after that, I'll watch the Mario Brothers show.
The Super Mario Brothers Super Show. That one?
Wait your heads. Yes, that one.
Anyway, whenever I think of I think of there's a scene in that show where they just go space race, and I think of Foxbox. Anyway, Chase Stevens is backstage. He's watching us as a judge. Chase Stevens, by the way, the Natural, as he was called in TNA wrestling, last seen at Slammiversary in the Reverse Battle Royal on the Countdown. He was on Impact episode number 2. Do you know who his opponents were, Cresta? I'm going to assume no.
Mm-mm.
Conan BG Brian James, also known as Road Dogg, and Ron R-Truth Killings. They took on 3 Live Crew.
Wow.
Yeah. They were on and also Chase Stevens was on the 4th TNA pay-per-view back when they were doing weekly $10 pay-per-views before Impact started doing a weekly TV show. Do you know who their opponents were? You won't guess in a million years.
I'm still stuck on the fact that you said weekly $10 pay-per-views. You're dragging it. I'm not going to guess who their opponents were.
The former 13-time Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions, the Briscoes.
I would not have guessed that. And my exposure to the Briscoes is very limited within the past year or so. To know that they've been wrestling that long is redonkulous. Holy crap.
Yeah, a long time. This was 2004. So we're almost 20 years from that. Anyway, Chase Stevens is here. Chase Stevens is here. He's backstage. He ain't doing nothing because Dirty Dango gets absolutely walloped by Jake something. At first, he gets cracked in the head by his Alpha Bravo buddy's flashlight. Either way, match was fine. It was a big win for something who moves on. I still don't know what we do next with Jake something, but we're clearly going to move on from Dirty Dango and from Alpha Bravo. What do you think of the match, and what are we doing with Jake something next?
Honestly, I don't really have any notes for the match. I literally said, let me go get some water. And I'm in the kitchen and I hear, you're a winner. I'm like, yo, Dango got mauled? Like, what happened? I mean, the 10-minute time limit, I knew y'all wasn't going to 10 minutes. Come on now. I don't know what we do with Jake something. I think that the X Division, I want to put him in the main event scene. We got a lot going on in the main event scene, and I wouldn't hate it. He's giving me kind of like how Masha was in the women's division. She was just tearing through people. It might be a Jordynne Grace or an Alexander type of situation to put something down, providing Alexander takes it off of Shelly. But let's say Alexander doesn't take it off of Shelly. Shelly beating Jake something or dropping it, I'm not opposed to either or, you know what I mean? But I think at this point, he's proven that I would put him in the world title mix. I don't think he should win yet, but putting him there, I think, is a really good chance because he looks great. Everything is great about him. As far as Dango is concerned, I don't know, man. You still hate pro wrestling after you got beat up by a pro wrestler? I don't know, man.
Dango's fine. Whatever he does, he'll be fine. I'm more interested in what they do with Jake something. There's like a small part of me that's thinking, you know what? Have Alan Angels, Mr. Rockstar, kick Chris Sabin in the dick and win the X Division Championship, and then have Jake something destroy Alan Angels and win the X Division Championship. It doesn't work with any conventional pro wrestling storytelling because Jake something is not a heel right now. He's a babyface. And like Alan Angels can kick him in the dick, I guess. But other than that, he's the bigger dude. It's not David versus Goliath because this time David's kind of a dickhead.
I only disagree with that because I think Alan Angels deserves the world. I think that what he did in the Dark Order was real cute. What he's been doing, it may not connect with everyone, but he just got it. Just to get it to save it, just to get choked out by Mr. Something. That's funny. That's good shit, pal. But like, I don't want that. Like, that's my only gripe. It's like Alan Angels, we finally got him to get a little something, and then next thing you know, Jake something has got him like, I don't want that.
It feels like whoever the next bad guy, the next heel is that wins the X Division Championship, Jake something should be immediately going after that person. But the thing is, I don't know who that can be. You have a brand new X Division champion who kind of won it in a surprise victory on Impact last week in Chris Sabin. So unless you do a respect match and something destroys Chris Sabin, at the same time, at the same time, Chris Sabin could be turning himself because his tag team partner certainly isn't making many friends these days, and he's the Impact World Champion.
Jake Something could also beat up Kenny King. No shade. I like Kenny King, but I could see Jake Something beating up Sheldon G and Kenny King. No shade. I don't think he needs the DMC.
Oh my God. Someone in the chat just brought up the fact that, and we talked about this, at Slammiversary, Alan Angels did punch Jake Something square in the testicles. I think I have a photo of it somewhere too.
You know, God doesn't like ugly. And he also said in the Bible, if you kicketh a man in the nuts will come to kicketh you back. I'm sure that's in there somewhere.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what it is. I don't think that's what it is. Hold on. I got this here. We got this. Let's see. I got the moment right there. There you go, Alan.
That's great. That's like a little kid just being a piece of crap to an adult. This is such a great shot. Oh my God. This is great.
He's got his arm right up there. He's
looking for gold. Holy crap.
Oh my God. Okay.
All right. Your theory makes more sense. Alan Angels, I'm sorry. I tried to defend you, buddy, but you can't go around punching people in the jewels.
Honestly, all he has to do to make it work is start yelling, "That's my purse." Anyway, Steve Macklin's backstage and he's like, "Hey, when I start something, I finish it." And I'm like, "You're a coward. You don't finish shit." He calls out Rhino and says he'll end his career. And then Rhino yells Macklin, gores him through the road cases. And then for some reason, Santino Marella, who can't be asked to do his job and already put someone else in charge, he says Rhino went too far. And I love it. Rhino doing his best ECW version of himself says, "I don't give a fuck." It's on Macklin. And I'm just laughing because ECW Rhino. Okay, so ECW Rhino would swear in every single promo, and that was part of his intensity. And then I would remember all of the wrestlers of that time talking about how to get over in wrestling, you don't need to swear to make your point and to be, be intense. But Rhino did it right here, and this was really fun. I like this segment. What'd you think? We're looking at Macklin versus Rhino coming down the pipe.
Honestly, I'm not going to lie. The first person I thought of was you and PCO for two reasons. And now in this moment, Roderick Strong. I thought of you because as soon as Macklin finished saying, and Rhino, you pretty much calling Rhino a baby back biatch, Rhino yells out, Macklin, and then spears this man into some boxes out his boots. And I literally saw Macklin's soul leave his body. I was like, I can see Joel at home right now, like, got him. Got him, ladies and gentlemen. I was like, PCO, this is how you do it. This is how you yell someone's name and you get him. You don't yell while you're running down the hallway. The bully. And also, like Roderick, we just yelling people say, Adam. It was great. So that was good shit, pal. I rarely see Macklin get manhandled. And to see Rhino come back, fantastic. As someone who loves to swear, Rhino, do your big one. Do your big one. I love swearing. It's sentence enhancers. I don't know if you guys ever seen that episode of SpongeBob, but that's me. I'm Patrick Star with all the dolphins coming out of my mouth. That's why I laugh like one.
You are such a New Yorker. Swearing is extra.
Swearing is like it's part of.
It's the drinking water of your state and your city.
You're right. Like I could get over it without cussing, but what if I fucking did?
I'm going to get a message tomorrow. Hey, why do we have a gold dollar sign next to the monetization on this video? AO Productions sends a super chat saying, ban Alan Angels from Ultimate X. Honestly, if he's going to give you someone put it in the chat, doing the Michael Jordan pose.
Ooh.
Ooh. Kenny King versus Eric Young. Let's figure this one out. Sheldon Jean gets involved immediately. Then Scott D'Amore gets involved immediately. And then Shark Boy, who is the deputy director of authority, comes out and in his best Sharkboy 316 makes it a tag match, and then immediately Diener and Kaun get involved and they attack Young and D'Amore. So Sharkboy brings out America's Most Wanted. They make it an 8-man tag team match. Chris Harris looks real good. Kaun looks good too. He stands out. Again, Chris Harris in 2023 having a good, it's an 8-man tag, but like having good spots. That was not on my bingo card, but eventually Eric Young gets the win, pile drive Sheldon Jean, and that's the match. Cresta Star, anything to add?
First of all, it's Sharkboy 24/7. It's legally distinct, okay? Secondly, bro, I just lost my train of thought. Oh my God.
Wonderful. Just like this match lost its train of thought the second it started.
Oh, I remember a couple of months back, we were talking about, I think, when Sami Callihan was looking for help or something like that against the design, and how we were saying we want to see Chris Harris back. Chris Harris in the face of Kaun. Again, this whole card was booked for Cresta Star. That match, so many meaty men slapping meat. And woo, Lance Storm was cooking that match. Also, Scott D'Amore was cooking that match. Scott, shouldn't you be working? To quote Raybo on the commentary. What's that?
Did you just say Lance Storm was in this match?
I'm sorry.
The man is long retired, Cresta.
I'm sorry.
Granted, he works backstage at Impact, so you're like 2/3 there, but like we're not now.
I literally on my notes I wrote Lance Storm, and then you see an X to it and James right over it. So
amazing.
God damn it. No, James Storm looked great. And also like how commentary was like Eric Young, Scott D'Amore, James Storm, not Lance Storm, were like the first people on Impact. And then the most people who've been on Impact is James Storm and Eric Young. I thought that was fantastic. This match was great. Sorry, Lance Storm. Sorry, James Storm. Your names just sounded like, I'm really sorry.
I didn't even think about the Storm thing. I just thought about like Lance Storm because he's Canadian. What are we doing here?
No, they look nothing alike. You guys look nothing alike. It's just the name. I'm so sorry, gentlemen. Please.
Shout out to Lance T. Storm. The T stands for Thunder, or in this case, the T stands for James. But anyway,
yes.
The match was fine. It was Eric Young is such a weird anomaly for Impact right now because he wasn't planning to come back, honestly. And I'm going to say this with complete honesty. If he hadn't asked for his release and shown up at Slammiversary, probably you'd be seeing him at Hard to Kill, because given the results of today, unfortunately, a lot of WWE superstars lost their jobs. Eric Young would have been one of those people, silently probably let go, and that would have been it. But Eric had the foresight and he left and he's back in the company. But I mean, I'm just wondering what they can do with him for now. I'm sure there's some backstage stuff that he might want to do, although he once told me that he wasn't super interested in that. He can always change his mind. But in terms of like, does he want to just do storytelling? Does he want to do title stuff? Does he want to just kind of lay back and find his lane and get into it? He's just kind of nowhere right now. But I don't mind that in terms of Impact 1000, because again, like Cresta, like you said, the first people you saw on that first episode of Impact, Scott D'Amore, Eric Young, James Storm, it all makes sense. Why not have the 1000th match for James Storm was against Eric Young? So it all just works.
They're all friends backstage. They're all popping each other in the back. I will say that I have learned in Impact TNA specifically, Eric Young is one of those people who can do whatever they want and succeed at it. Now, this is just me fantasy booking, but I would like to see Eric Young try to help people in the undead realm, and we'll get somebody else besides Eric Young. I would laugh. And I would watch it every week, and I would try to make people watch it too. But I would like to see Eric Young, but maybe with Crazy Steve, maybe with Father James Mitchell. I would like to see what they do.
So would I. AO Productions, Chris Harris looked good out there. He did. And again, it was a bit of a shock. Like when he hit that running bulldog off the ropes, looked good. He just had a good showing, and I can't say that it's not that I'm not gonna say I didn't expect it, because I've seen him wrestle before. He had the match last year where he teamed with James Storm. It was another, I think it was 6 or 8 man tag, but either way, it was just like, yeah, he's fine. He did the thing, And they did a good job with it. But this time he came back and he looked even better. So can't really complain. If he wants to come back every year and just do a special multi-person tag match, go for it. Am I expecting him to do Ultimate X or to win win a tag team championship? No, don't think that's what he needs to do. But if you want a good nostalgia play, you bring in Chris Harris, bring in James Storm, give him a payday. Everyone's happy. America's Most Wanted's back together for a night. Why not?
I agree. The only real loser in that match was Sheldon G. Sheldon Jean got used at the end.
Poor bastard. He's got to go back on Big Brother Canada. Anyway, Feaster fired. The reveal. Dave LaGreca presiding, and he's doing his best Deal or No Deal impression. God bless. He was a shaved head away from doing a whole Howie Mandel gimmick. So just good for him. You know that my uncle used to babysit Howie Mandel back in the day? Whew.
I learned right now in this moment.
It's like a few times it happened. Anyway, LaGreca asks everyone what they're hoping to find in their case. And I love this because 3 out of the 4 men are in tag teams and their tag team partners are with them. So he asks Yuya Uemura first, and Yuya says, champions. And of course, Joe Hendry's like, oh, he means the tag title shot because champions, plural. And I feel like Yuya was about to turn to him and be like, no. But instead, they're still tagged, so no. Chris Bay wants a World Tag Team title shot. Moose says he wants a tag title shot, but he looks like he does not care. And it plays into the reveal. We'll get to that in a second. And then Crazy Steve says, a heart, a liver, lungs, maybe? And I'm like, this is going very well for him. I like what we're doing with Crazy Steve. Crazy Steve gets the first shot. He gets the Digital Media Championship, and he grabs the briefcase, and he says, and the world was full of dreamers. And of course, who is the Digital Media Champion, Cresta Star?
Oh, man. El Darabuse, Tommy Dreamer. I know what's about to happen, and I see why they put that on Tommy Dreamer, but how many murders must I witness? Impact.
Tommy Dreamer losing an eye in 2023 was not part of my bingo card, but I am welcoming it today. Moose gets the world title shot, and he's got a huge smile. He's like, oh, damn, I was hoping for the tag title shot. And he just had a bigger smile, and he walks away. And Myers is kind of like, the fuck did he say?
Bro, it was giving... have you ever seen like one of those Miss Universes and there's some girls who are like really there and other girls who are there for the money? They're like, how would you fix the world? World peace. Tag team ties. Okay, but you won first place. Give me the... That was Moose. That was Moose. That was funny. I like Moose. I was actually surprised Moose didn't get fired. But when Moose didn't get fired and Crazy Steve didn't get fired, I knew what was up.
Chris Bay gets a tag title shot. He's happy. Ace of Base walk off. And Yuya is fired. And everyone's upset.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I wrote a song in honor of Joe Hendry. Are you ready? It's the same way. Clap, clap, clap. Booyah. Clap, clap, clap. Booyah. This is terrible. I hate this decision. I mean, it makes sense, but it doesn't mean that I like it. In fact, I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I'm not sports entertained. I'm sports hurt.
AO calls it probably the most saddest Feast or Fired reveals. And I agree. It was everyone got into Joya, in Toronto when they debuted, and I got to see it and people were into it. And then the next day TV tapings, they were really into it because now they knew the dance and they knew the team and it was working. I'm hoping that they're going to try and play this into something with Joe Hendry. It sounds like they might because like we were talking about during the crossover, they're going to do next week. They've already advertised it on the actual show. They're going to do a goodbye to Yuya on Impact next week. But on top of that, Impact's promoting for the TV tapings Yuya versus Josh Alexander, which feels like either a goodbye match or just it could be a dark match for all we know. Regardless, they're promoting it as happening on the show. Then again, card subject to change. They were supposed to tape for Impact 1000 Alex Shelley versus Trey Miguel for the Impact World Championship. That became tonight's Josh Alexander versus Trey Miguel match instead. So who knows what they're going to do? But looks like Yuya is at least going to be around for the Memphis tapings that start tomorrow night.
I'm not mad. It makes sense. Let's say there's no work, nothing, whatever. They do the taping. we knew he was here on excursion from New Japan. He has to go home at some time. It's just very unfortunate that right when he got over with the Joya, everyone's happy. I mean, it was great. It was great. I think, again, something you and I complained about was like, he's a great talent. He just needed something. And now that he got something, he's fired. He's fired within the confines of Impact Wrestling. You got a whole Bully Ray right there. Like, you got a whole, who else is being a man? You have a whole Crazy Steve who's threatening people with forks. There's like 4 or 5 other people you could feast the fire. You know what I mean? I again, not in real life, considering the jokes of today. You know what I mean? The things that happen today. But in the confines of Impact Wrestling, this guy just...
Okay, so what's interesting about all this, you and I talked about it last week, was New Japan's involvement and kind of the expectation of how their talent are treated when they're on excursion. This is part of Yuya Uemura's excursion from New Japan Pro Wrestling. The hope is that he goes back, but New Japan traditionally isn't super big on having like your excursion, your young lion getting fired and then going back to the company because it looks bad. And I'm using quotation because, of course, we're talking kayfabe world. That being said, I think this is probably the best opportunity for them because they're going to do this goodbye ceremony and it might turn into Yuya advocating for himself and being like, if I'm leaving, I want one last shot to save my job. And that's where Josh Alexander comes in and they do, this is your like a last chance type of match. Yuya loses, let's say, and then Yuya's back to New Japan. Or he wins and Joya's back on the table and everyone's happy. And really Feast or Fired is just complete dog shit for that reason.
I feel like somebody told me a story about a time where Feast or Fire, where they thought it'd be funny to actually fire people. So I like this version better. I don't care if it means nothing. Hey, it means nothing. Hey, there are worse things. There are worse things in wrestling that mean more. You know what I mean? If it turns into, I like the idea of Yuya advocating for himself, so he goes against Josh Alexander, and now Joe Hendry jealous because he never went against Josh Alexander. What? I put you on. How you gonna do me? You're not gonna outdo the doer. And listen, I love Joe Hendry, but Joe Hendry's not the good guy. I hate to remind people, but when he was coming there, he took some man's inheritance, got a man's wife pregnant. I think he unplugged some guy on life support. Joe Hendry is the good guy, but is he? I like him, but is he? Just saying.
Someone's got to point that out. Someone's got to point that out and be like, look at the tape.
Listen, I get it. But I'm also going to say that Joe Hendry didn't look too sad when Yuya got fired. I'm just saying. If we talk about people's facial expressions, Moose was kind of overt with it, but Joe Hendry had to look like, darn.
Anyway, yeah. So Dex Baker sends a super chat saying, every great musical act deserves a farewell tour. Joya will get the send-off, I hope. And that's the thing. Next week, they're going to do some sort of send-off, some sort of goodbye. And I actually kind of hope it has a musical act associated with it. Joe Hendry doing like some sort of, and if this is Joe Hendry turning on Yuya on his way out and just beating him up with like a guitar or a piano or something live.
Not Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah, let's go. and also like this is also from Dex. It's not a super chat, but they said they fired Chavo for real 1 year. They did that to Diener. I'm trying to take that one. There we go. They did it to Diener, and it got so bad that like someone tried to give him his job back. like they tried to trade jobs for them. It was oh god, I'm doing this again. I did this last week. Did I say it was Daivari? Because I'm pretty sure was it Shawn Daivari? Was it someone else?
I think it was Daivari that you had said last week. But even if so, like I think certain taboo subjects work in wrestling because we're all in on the joke. I don't think people want to see people wrestle on live air for real for their job. You know what I mean? But when you actually do it, then people are like, yo, that's gross. What is this, the Coliseum? what are we doing? Like, ugh.
And again, that's why the Dixie Carter world was not a good one. Anyway, Dobby the Brain Heathen says it's a super chat as well, saying, hate to see Yuya Uemura go, but it seems like his excursion is up and it's time to head back. Was a fun run. Hope to see him back one day. And that's the thing. If this is it for Yuya, I would call this a success.
Yeah.
At the very end, especially because, as you and I talked about, Cresta, Yuya was the one thing that we were waiting for was some sort of character development. And this was it. What he was doing with Joe Hendry, that was the beginning of it. So I'm really hoping that he takes that. If they extend it a little bit, perfect. If they don't, he's going to come back with a lot of new character opportunities to work with.
I agree. 100%. I wish that it didn't come so late at the very end of his tenure. But if it is, I think it leaves a strong door. Let's say Joe does turn on him, it leaves a strong door for him to come back and be like, screw this Hendry feller. When I was here the first time, he bamboozled me. But now the tables have turntabled.
Yeah, exactly. Well, anyway, as we've noted, Yuya is going to face Josh Alexander potentially at the tapings. It's being advertised, but Josh Alexander had Trey Miguel. This was a good match. This was a solid match. Go out of your way to find it and watch it. Alexander does a release German suplex that just makes Trey Miguel flip over, land straight on his face. And then they do a spot where Trey tries the Meteora and it lands into the ankle lock, turns it into an ankle lock from Alexander. It's wild stuff. Alex Shelley comes down, takes out Zachary Wentz, and then Alexander hits a C4 strike for the win. But Cresta, the main point of this entire match is the announcements made for the Impact World Championship at Bound for Glory, Josh Alexander versus Alex Shelley. Talk to me, match and thoughts on Bound for Glory's probable main event?
Most likely, makes sense. Also, Trey and Alexander, such a good job. Trey sells. He looks like he got the shit beat out of him that match. He really looked like he was getting flung. That C4 spike too at the end looked gnarly. Shelley coming out saying, I hate those guys. I'm not here to help you. It makes sense. We talk about dumb babyface syndrome all the time. And just because I'm the champion doesn't mean I have to help out the guy who's going to challenge me. What does that look? How do I look? To quote Samoa Joe, use your noodle, bro. I like this. Bound for Glory is going to slap. And I think if Shelley retains that Bound for Glory, I don't think it's a hit on Alexander at all. I think no matter who wins, it's going to be something special.
Yeah, no notes, nothing extra add. I'm just looking forward to that. We have a super chat that we'll probably get to the end of the show that really talks about Bound for Glory and the opportunity that has, because they also announced Speedball Mike Bailey is going to take on Will Ospreay. And this is something, Cresta, that we talked about. It was Will doesn't need to be in a title match. He can very easily have an opponent like Speedball who will absolutely go to the ends of the earth with the Will Ospreay in a match that people will be talking about. Very much looking forward to this. Got a lot of people hyped. Very excited. What did you think when you heard this?
Can we give Speedball Wrestler of the Year, please? This man from January till now is in every match, every notable favorite moment from this year. I'm thinking, damn, Speedball would either be great in it or Speedball's in it. So I don't know who I got to write to, who does the Wrestler of the Year award. I'll give him one. I'll make one. The Cresta Star Wrestler of the Year award goes to you, sir. That match is going to slap. Oh, sorry, bruv. That match is gonna slap.
And you know what? People know that I really like Mike Bailey, and a lot of people do. But this is a guy who's gonna be smiling for the entirety of this match, because I don't think I can ever think of a time where Speedball Mike Bailey is not in a good mood and smiling. You know, with the and listen, in terms of the kayfabe world, that one time when he had the pit fight with Kenny King and he kicked the chair onto Kenny King's face at the end, that was something different. But anytime that I've interacted with Mike Bailey, anytime that you see him, he always has the biggest smile on his face. He loves what he's doing. He is aces at it. And this is honestly more of a reward than anything else for him to get Will Ospreay Bound for Glory. And that's a lot of respect coming Mike Bailey's way for those who maybe haven't seen him yet or are looking to see something different. It'll be a really, really good match.
Oh yeah. I mean, honestly too, I enjoy Speedball so much that let's say Alexander wins it off of Shelley. let him go for another year. Let Speedball be the one to take it off of him for real.
Yeah, there's definitely place there.
Sure. Yeah, the only thing I hate is how Speedball about to get cheated out his boots when he goes against Gresham next week. Because Gresham has very obviously had it at Impact Wrestling. It's giving Honor No More right before they became Honor No More.
So they're backstage. Gresham walks up to Speedball and he's like, I'm going to wrestle my way back to the top. I'm a champion. I know what to do. I'm great. And then Speedball's like, yeah, I mean, I've got the perfect match for you. I've got the perfect opponent for you. And you can face this guy and you can make a statement. And it's going to be Speedball Mike Bailey. So we're doing Speedball Gresham. Is this 4? I think this is either the 4th or 5th time we're running this in Impact.
5%. That's what he has. So maybe it's 5. I don't know.
And when they announced this match last week, a lot of people were like, again. And there's a part of me that reacted similarly. I didn't do it on socials. I wasn't like, oh, again. I was more just like, why are we doing this? But it feels like now we're actually going to get some development from Gresham out of this. I think he's going to get pissy. I think he's going to get pissed off. And I think he's going to cheat to win. Or he's going to find a way to it's the 5th time. They're going to find a way to make this a character-driven fight instead of just, these two guys are really good at what they do. They're going to beat each other up and everyone's going to chant, this is awesome.
I mean, it's going to be a slapper. But Gresham is also going to beat the crap. I stopped myself from swearing. I think I reached my limit. He's gonna beat the crap out of Speedball, and it sucks because even if it is an act, and he's such a good actor, you could tell he's just like you said, a genuinely sweet guy who loves to wrestle. He's like literally all the children, like Bailey was back in the day when she was a hugger, all the hopes and dreams, man. And Gresham is about to bully this man for what? You're mad at the wrong person. Go, no offense, Joe, go beat up Scott D'Amore. Go beat up Santino Morello or Shark Boy 24/7. They're the ones who making decisions. Speedball just wants to live as a true, he wants to be a good guy. Let him be a good guy, all right? Not everyone wants to be a bad guy, or maybe he's not jaded yet. Let him rock.
Gresham should go beat up Steve Macklin.
Okay, I agree with that. But also, it's going to be a good match, but you're mad at the wrong person. I mean, you could be mad at Macklin too, because he's strangling the top spot up there too. You could be mad at Bully Ray as well. There's a bunch of other people you can be mad at, but Speedball, that's like picking on the kid who already gets picked on. What are we doing here? What do we do? He don't even get picked on. So what are we doing here?
So thinking about it, it's actually more likely that Speedball gets the victory and then Gresham gets pissed off and starts beating on Speedball.
That's sports entertainment.
But that's the thing, because Gresham's going to be so pissed that he tried to play by the rules again, and this time the rules failed him. So he's like, forget this. And also Speedball is on his way to a major match against Will Ospreay, so you kind of have to keep him strong too.
I mean, I never see someone losing by shenanigans or cheating as, okay, you lost, you suck. Unless it's against the Rascals or the Outcasts, because they come in with spray paint. I don't know what else to tell you. I really don't know what else to tell you. So I get it. I get it. That makes sense. But what you're saying makes sense too. But that means Gresham would, in essence, have to injure Speedball before he goes and fights Ospreay, because it should have been me. And I don't like that either. I don't like that either.
Well, you know what I do like? FightfulSelect.com, the best $5 in the business.
$5?
$5. Remember when Subway had $5 footlongs and now it's like $10.50 footlongs? No. We keep it at $5. That's the start. You can go up and do more, but at $5 gets you all the news and all the extra content that you want and that you need. It's exclusive. It's good. You want to learn everything that happened at Grand Slam. Get those notes in. We got them. AW's Grand Slam notes over at FightfulSelect.com. Unfortunately, today, a lot of WWE superstars were released. We have notes on all of those releases in terms of contract information, expectations and creatives, some people who were involved, some people who weren't, just notes, odds and sods coming out of those releases today over at FightfulSelect.com, the best $5 in the business. And on a happier note, it's contract season, Cresta Star. So there are a lot of people from all sorts of wrestling companies, not just WWE and AEW, but also from Impact Wrestling and from MLW and from everywhere else where there are contracts in play. We are finding out when contracts are coming up. We are finding out who's re-signing. We are finding out who's jumping ship over at FightfulSelect.com. Get the best $5 in the business. Sean Ross Sapp does a Q&A on Fridays. Grapsody did a Q&A earlier today. Coexisting After Dark with Rob and Maggie. There is tons of content. Sour Graps with Alex Pulaski and our friend Kate Elizabeth, who does the Ring of Honor post show here on the channel. Let's face it, Best $5 in the business. Go to FightfulSelect.com. Easy peasy, right? You doing the 5-knuckle shuffle?
I was muted because sometimes I feel like people can hear my AC in the background. So I was giving you this, but yeah, I didn't get to the unmute button in time. That's the long and short of it. Sorry, y'all.
I appreciate the honesty. I really do. I've got a board, like a soundboard in front of me, so I got my mute button always right here. Right here.
You know, it's funny you should say that. I have a Stream Deck that I can program to mute and unmute my mic, but it's a Stream Deck Mini, and I'd have to make an extra folder, and that just sounds like I'm notoriously lazy.
Yeah, anyway. The Rascals are backstage, and John Skyler walks up, and he's like, "Where's my title shot? Where's my title shot, man? Where's my title shot?" And the Rascals are just like, "Can we not do this right now, man? Like, we just had a grueling match. It's not." We're not interested. And then Ace of Base walk in, and they're flaunting the tag title shot briefcase. And Skyler's like, "Hey, you're just lucky you had that briefcase." And the Rascals kind of walk off and just leave everyone alone. It's a good little segment, funny, cute, does nothing for me. What'd you think?
I thought it was a little bit more than cute. It was great because it confirmed the good hand saying, "Bro, we did you a solid. I want my title shot." Now it's not. Never's a good time. Where's my title shot? And then when they tried to confront Chris Bay, he's like, "Yo, you need to get to the back of the line." He's like, "Yeah, but they're not going to let us." He's like, "Bro, you ain't got no friends." When Chris Bay said that, I died because it's kind of true. The good hands, all they got is each other. All they got is each other. No, you get used by everybody, and then you get jobs by everybody.
Dip. Might be a 3-way at Mount Fuller. Probably not. I don't think the good hands are going to get their way in, but anyway, we'll talk about that in a few minutes. Someone in the chat saying, "I hope Jimmy and I do another Q&A on Select soon." So do I. We usually do those about once a quarter, and it all depends on Sean's travel schedule. So those are. When did we last do one? So I guess the next one would be. Oh God, we just did one in September, August. It'll be either late this year or early next year. That's just how it goes because a lot of people will have lots to say. Let's move on. Next week. We got Sabin and Angels for the X Division Championship. We got Dreamer and Heath versus Sheldon Jean and Kenny King. And I assume Crazy Steve's going to show up and try to fork someone's eye out. Speedball Mike Bailey takes on Jonathan Gresham in the 5th installment of their series. And Yuya's Goodbye, which also might become Joe Henry's heel turn or something else. We'll see. That's next week. But let's talk about this main event, Cresta Star. Buddy, 10 knockouts, tag. Awesome Kong stands tall. Her team. With Gail Kim, Jordynne Grace, Mickie James, Knockouts champion Trinity. They take on Tasha Steelz, Angelina Love, Deonna Purrazzo, Giselle Shaw, Savannah Evans, Jay Vidal, and Velvet Skye are side. What are they? Ringside? Ringside.
They have that AEW manager's license.
They're there. And then you've got Raisha Saeed for Awesome Kong on that side of things. This match was a lot of fun and a lot of craziness, and it proved 2 things. 1, they can all go, and 2, Gail Kim ain't done yet. Talk about this match, because by the way, Awesome Kong way over in this match. People were chanting "We want Kong," and she came in. She didn't have to do much, but man, what she did, she made it matter. Talk to me about this.
I stopped taking notes halfway through this match because it was so good. So I've got like 7 bars. This is what's going to say. That split that Trinity did in the beginning to Angelina Love looked like she broke that woman's sternum. It was so clean. Now, Miss Giselle Shaw, what were you doing tagging in when you saw Deonna Purrazzo versus Jordynne Grace? I respect it. But Miss Thing got ragged. Oh, you thought this was Trey Miguel and Josh Alexander all over again. Damn, Jordynne Grace, you ain't have to drag that woman like that. Mickie James doing the fake pump out with the... I love it. Because you see, MK Ultra alludes to it. Mickie James, she's about it. Gail Kim at this point, and this is where I stopped taking notes, this woman was here. She was there. Gail Kim could go, and so could Angelina Love. Don't get me wrong, so I'm not mistaken. Doesn't she have a match coming up for Ring of Honor or something against it
tonight? So she basically
doing double duty.
So she pulled double duty, a Rick Rude, and she was on both shows tonight. She you know what she did? She went over to Ring of Honor and she did her match. And then she packed up the car, packed up her things, put them in the trunk, and she ran her ass over to White Plains. And she did the match tonight. Good on Angelina Love.
I respect that. Also, that Hurricane Rana into Octopus stretch from Gail Kim. When George Eichmann says some of these people want a contract, Gail Kim.
She's got a contract. She's working. She's fine.
I'm assuming she's retired. Like, oh, she don't want it. Gail Kim. Put it. I need that. I need that in my veins. At that point, the crowd just started shouting, "We want Kong," and poor Giselle Shaw, much like Sheldon G. You ain't deserved that, sis. You deserved it earlier when you tagged yourself in. But it was the scary movie of Giselle Shaw. Like, please don't let this woman be behind me. Please don't let this woman. And once she turned sideways, she knew she was about to get powerbombed out her boots. That match was so good. Awesome Kong versus Savannah Evans. Big, meaty women slapping meat. This match was for me. I don't know who booked it, but you're a genius. 10 out of 10 in the Tokyo Dome, 10 out of 10 in Wembley. This match was great. Did I say this match was great? This match was phenomenal. What did you feel about it, Joel?
It's funny because you mentioned, whoever put this match together. I have a feeling that the woman that we've been praising for the last few minutes, who also works for the company, may have played a part in putting this match together, which is pretty phenomenal because, again, she's not an active competitor. She has not been a part of the in-ring matches on TV in a very long time. We're talking about Gail Kim. I looked at Jordan Grace's name for a minute. Her and Gail Kim had a bunch of tag team spots at one point, dual spots. That was really fun. But at one point, Kim takes a gnarly head bump. Velvet Skye pulls her off of the apron, and she basically, like, Gail Kim just knocks herself loopy on the floor. And that's what kind of makes this even more impressive, is that after that, she gets up and she still does it.
She kind of no-sold it. Like, I don't care. It's going to take a lot more to knock me down. Like,
she's also from a certain standard of wrestler where you just no-sell everything. And she did it online too. After it happened, she's like, yeah, got knocked loopy, but I still did it. I'm okay. Don't worry. Scary moment. We're cool. But yeah, God, they wanted Awesome Kong. They got Awesome Kong. She comes in, she cleans house. They do the Kong and Evans standoff, which was perfect because you have those two meaty women, as you say, and it's just good stuff. You have everyone flying. Trinity's flying. Tasha Steelz is flying. Grace using Kim to knock down everybody, including Savannah Evans. And then Gail Kim does a big top rope dive and almost takes out everyone, and also almost over rotates at the same time. So good on Savannah Evans grabbing her at the last minute, catching her. And I'm pretty sure at one point you see Gail kind of turn over after she lands and thank Savannah and be like, thank you for making sure I don't die. So there was some really, really good stuff in this match regardless. And yeah, Giselle Shaw just perfectly selling it as she gets ruined by Awesome Kong, the choke slam, the implant buster, the big win, and then of course the post match. This was fun. Jay Vidal gets hit with the Botox injection from Angelina Love, and then she gets paper bagged by both members of the Beautiful People. But really, Cresta, this was the moment that a lot of people either saw it or you missed it. As the referee is raising all 5 hands of the winners, Mickie James is next to Trinity, the Impact Knockouts world champion, and Mickie is just eyeing that damn title down. Are we getting Mickie James versus Trinity at Bound for Glory?
I would like to see it. I mean, I'm gonna keep it real with you. A lot of people complain. They say, well, we don't know how Trinity wrestles. We don't know if she can wrestle. I think she's beyond proved that she can. And anyone who I think is a legacy or someone who, I don't think clout is the right word, but is of a certain standard in Impact Wrestling, the more people she can wrestle, whether she wins or loses, elevates everybody and shuts up everybody. I think Trinity is looking better and better and better, and that's something I will always give Impact. You can't go to Impact and get worse. That's, especially now, that's impossible. Just like how that's not a word, that's impossible for you to go to Impact and get worse. Like, ain't no way. It's impossible, bro. So I would like to see it. I would also like to see Trinity win. But if she didn't, I wouldn't be mad at her dropping it to Mickie, but also in the sense of Mickie, you don't need it. I wouldn't hate it just because I think Mickie James is fantastic, but also Trinity pinning Mickie James. Woo.
So let's not forget a couple of things. One, Mickie James never lost that championship. She gave it up just before Rebellion because she was hurt. We were waiting for her to come back. She never put that title around anybody's waist.
That's true.
At Rebellion when Deonna won that Knockouts World Championship. And we said, where was Mickie? Well, she wasn't there. Now Mickie's back and she wants that title back because she has a claim. She never lost it. And then going back to what George Iceman said in that Iceman Intel about someone trying to get a new deal with Impact, well, Mickie James has always been working on handshake deals with Impact Wrestling.
I didn't know that. I just assumed it was Gail Kim the way she was flying around that ring. Like, yeah, I know you're like a boss, but I didn't know, like, I was assuming within confines, it's a in-ring contract and backstage contract.
Mickie has always been on a handshake deal with Impact Wrestling. You want to know why she showed up at the Royal Rumble that one year with the Knockouts World Championship? Because she didn't have a full-time deal with Impact. But Impact trusted her, rightfully so, because Mickie's been doing this for a long time and has never really shown anyone that she's going to show up and, throw the title in the trash on Nitro. Instead, she's always done what's asked of her. This looks like the beginning of them trying to tell the story of Mickie James coming back and trying to reclaim the Knockouts title that she never lost, which is good. But then you also have to factor in Jordynne Grace, and you also have to factor in maybe Deonna, although Deonna lost a few matches along the way. So really it feels like Grace, Mickie, and Trinity are the three people really involved in this match.
I'm going to go ahead and even throw out a wild card for you. And all of this hinges on MK Ultra not breaking up. Because as long as Masha Slamovich is involved in the Knockouts tag team, that's fine. But the moment she's not, whoever's champion, you got to deal with that woman coming for you. And she's no joke. She is no joke.
Once again, Knockouts tag team champions Giselle Shaw and Deonna Purrazzo.
I mean, I feel like, no, that was Madison Rayne and Tennille Dashwood.
And who knows where that's going to come from once we get to Hard to Kill in January.
That's another thing that was making me think. I saw this discourse earlier, like, yeah, it sucks, but a few people have ties here at Impact, Tennille Dashwood being one of them. And wasn't she Impact Knockouts champion right before she left?
Which one? Who?
Tennille? Emma?
No, Tennille did not hold the Knockouts world title.
No, the tag titles. I'm sorry, I said world titles.
She had the tag titles. Oh God! And then she dropped
with Madison Rayne because she was, and then they dropped it to, I think
it may have been Chelsea and Deonna.
It might have actually been Chelsea and Deonna, and then Chelsea went home.
Chelsea went back. I gotta look this up. Hold on, I gotta get this. Revival tournament Reigns. Here we go. Eric Young and ODB. No, I'm kidding. I don't even know anymore. Who are we talking about here?
Tennille Dashwood, Madison Rayne.
Yeah, okay. They dropped it. The Influence dropped it to Rosemary and Taya at Slammiversary. And then they dropped it to Deonna and Chelsea. And then they dropped it to Death Dolls, Coven, and now MK Ultra. There we go. We're back.
We're back, ladies and gentlemen. My point still stands, though. As long as Masha is involved in those tag team titles, this can continue. And I think even Trinity could pin them all. I think her going against someone like Masha, like Deonna, Grace, Masha, and Mickie are all tests of strength in their own right, but different tests in general. Giselle Shaw is too. When you think about she's hungry, she'll do anything to win. Deonna Purrazzo, you have to dig deep into your stretching bag. And with Grace, you're gonna have to try to outpower. You can't outpower her. She's fast too. Mickie James got years of experience and she's gonna run you ragged. And then someone like Masha Slamovich who will put you through something. I want to see all of that. But also, again, that's what makes a great champion, because it's kind of like what Josh Alexander had to do. You literally had to go through everyone who's going to test you in a different way, culminating with Bully, I think, right before he got injured before Macklin. Bully, who was literally going to psychologically torture you and do anything. So I'm looking forward to that. Mickie James versus Trinity at Bound for Glory. Is Mickie going to be heel Mick?
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. And this is what makes things even more interesting is on the outside of the world. I don't know if Trinity is going back to WWE anytime soon. I don't know if that's in the cards anymore. I mean, they'll make money. They would make room for her. She's very much proven that she never wasn't a hot commodity, but I think this has been a net positive for her. And you can't deny that more eyes were brought to Impact because of her Knockouts title reign and because of just her appearances. This has been a success so far for her. And she's proven that she's much, much, much more in the ring than people took her as in WWE.
I will go ahead and say this too, Joel. I don't know if you know, but those tag titles are cursed. So until somebody, you think I'm kidding, but I'm not.
Believe me, I've been saying it for a year.
Those tag titles are cursed. And until they bring back both Sasha and Mercedes and Trinity and a loud public apology, until you do right by them, everyone who touches those titles is going to fail. I hate to say it. And y'all, the disrespect, the apology needs to be as loud as the disrespect. Some guy, corporate mandate, Phil.
Non-litigation, Phil.
Non-litigated. Coco Melon Punk will never be seen again.
AO Production says also Mickie James has not been pinned since June 2022. Yeah, when the last rodeo started, she did the whole thing. She hasn't been pinned. This could be the start of that. Although Tasha Steelz is back, so who knows? And
That's
then
true.
Dobby the Brain Heenan wraps us up saying Bound for Glory is looking stacked. Ospreay versus Bailey, Josh versus Shelly, and the hint at the end of Mickie versus Trinity, maybe even Ace of Base versus the Rascals. Stacked. I'm looking forward to this show. I'm glad that it's a month away because there is a lot of story to tell. And I'm also glad that you, me, and Steven Jensen, Cresta Star, will be covering the post Bound for Glory show as it airs, after it airs. We'll be here as we are every single week here on Thursdays covering Impact Wrestling. Until then, Cresta, what's going on? Tell them where they can find you.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, every Saturday and Thursday, I'm here on Fightful covering Impact Wrestling on Thursday, Collision on Saturdays. You guys make me feel special. At 12 o'clock, 30 minutes after this show goes off air, I'm going to do my Baldur's Gate run. 1 hour, Randy Orton, Jey Uso, Joe Hendry, Biggie. I have to think about who the other person was. We're only doing an hour power, and then I got to go to bed. Besides that, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, you can find me on social medias like TikTok, Twitch, Cresta Star. If that was a lot, because my brain is systematically shutting off. Cresta the Star right here on X, Twitter, whatever it's called. Linktree is in bio. You can find everything there. Joel Pearl, take us home, baby.
Have you considered doing a Baldur's Gate run with Stone Cold Steve Austin because he's bald?
Bro, right now I have a bunch of Baldur's Gates runs, and one of them is just 3 bards. So literally we run around and start singing music, and people give us free money, but we use it, then have the 4th person go and steal from everyone. People are like, oh my God, this music is so good. And the 4th person is pickpocketing the crowd. So maybe after we beat the game the first time, we'll do a bald asshole run. Randy Orton, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Don Callis. Who's another bald asshole?
Moose. Oh God, I hate it already. Go support Cresta. Go watch the runs. Go hang out with her and hang out with us every Thursday. And of course, hang out with me tomorrow along with Jeremy Lambert on Fightful Overbooked, our sister channel. Go to youtube.com/Fightful Overbooked to subscribe there because we go in the weeds every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern till noon. Andrew Zarian's going to join us early in the show to talk about Grand Slam and also the WWE TV rights deal and all the other stuff. By the way, did someone say free money? Kai, thank you very much for the super chat. I am at Joel Pearl, JOELPERL. Ladies, gentlemen, friends beyond the binary, we will see you in the next one. Cheers.